Let's see. Very, very little. Perth and North Perthshire, Murray in Scotland, nothing in England. Extraordinary. Labour have done some serious damage to Conservative seats in England, and they may have offset it with gains in Wales and in Scotland, but all from the exit poll. We'll have to see. David.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy, are we going to be hung, drawn and quartered if this is all wrong? Which it still might well be, but we have to go on with what we've got from the exit poll, and indeed there's reaction already to this exit poll. I'm joined by two people who'll be sitting here during the evening. Amol Rajan, who's the BBC's media editor, and Kamal Ahmed, who's our economics editor. You start. Has there been an immediate reaction?
Well, I think it's safe to say there has been a huge reaction. This is a massive shock. There's obviously huge caveats, David. Lots of people saying that there are, as you said, lots of close seats, so it's too early to say. But astonishment in across the Twitter sphere. Caroline Lucas, the Green Party leader, has just tweeted saying, "Hardly dare hope this is right. To be clear, the Greens will never support a Tory government. Hashtag hope over hate." Jason Groves, who's the political editor of the Daily Mail, the paper that's been very supportive of Theresa May, says that Brenda from Bristol, a famous quote from Brenda from Bristol, who said that, yeah, why do we need to have another election, said is going to have to cope with yet another election if this exit poll is right. And already, although it's very early, we haven't got results, there is some big themes emerging on social media, David. One is that this is a disaster for Theresa May, as Laura has pointed out. Another is that there may well be another election. And the third one that people like Lord Ashcroft are unanimous on is that it's going to be a very long night.
And Brenda from Bristol, I remember, she's not another bloody election.
Not another one. Why does she have to do it? But in a Bristolian accent, I think, that I will never get close to emulating.
Okay, Kamal, has there been a reaction?
There has, David. We were here together on referendum night,
yes,
when voted Brexit,
yes,
and there's a similar feel. Of course, as Amol says, as we've all said, you have to be careful. This is a poll, and we haven't actually seen any real results, but the pound is down about 2% already against the dollar. It's also down against the euro. I think that's not as much about Jeremy Corbyn could be the Prime Minister, depending on how things may turn out if this exit poll is correct. But it is about uncertainty, and that word we always use when the markets are looking at a situation, because for the markets, the big economic challenge for the UK was Brexit. If we are in a position where neither of the parties have a solid majority and have to go through tough negotiations, are in weak positions, there could be another election. This could have a situation where a Scottish referendum could become back into play depending on those negotiations. The markets look at that and would much prefer a 70 majority for Theresa May or a 70 majority for Jeremy Corbyn, whatever their policies may be, because at least then they can make a judgment on what the likelihood trajectory of those negotiations
So you're saying it's uncertain, not thinking that there's going to be possibly a softer Brexit if Theresa May doesn't have the majority?
Burger Bob, how you doing, sir? Sorry, right, let me just mute this a second.
There could be a softer Brexit if there is either a Jeremy Corbyn-led government or a hung parliament and Theresa May having to put together a coalition. And the reason I say that is because I think the uncertainty of would this government last for 5 years or...
Right, guys, I just thought I'd point out that I am very much into my politics at the moment, and it is the UK general election today. Votes are now casted, and we'll be listening in the background of this flight to Barcelona, from London Gatwick to Barcelona, with Jet2 Virtual. We'll be listening to the run-up to this debate, the counting of the results and etc. I'm not going to broadcast the video, like the footage, but we will be listening in. I'm watching this on BBC iPlayer, so I'm not going to be broadcasting the actual video. But welcome to the channel, and welcome to Jet2 Virtual.
Making $1 million here and $1 million there and $1 billion here and $1 billion there.
Some will be losing as well.
They're all gamblers, really. Yes. All right.
No, it's more than that, David. They're making a judgment on the possible strength of the UK economy in the future.
Okay. Well, like racehorses, they may be right, they may be wrong, but I call it gambling. But anyway, let's go to Scotland. Just a reminder of the figures in Scotland. The exit poll gave the SNP down 22 at 34, Emily, and I don't know which ones you've got up there, but let's see what the story is in Scotland.
We're going to need a new word for caveat soon. I feel like I'm in the front line, and we're talking about extreme caveat because the SNP is even harder than some of the other places to read. We know at the moment, according to the forecast, the S&P are on 34 seats, that is. That means that they would lose 12 if
10,000
on target. And these are some of the ones
kilograms,
that
which is 10
there is a
ton.
90% chance of them losing. Let me go to the
APU
first one,
time,
which comes out on
20
our
minutes.
forecast as a gain for the Conservatives. Aberdeenshire West and
20 minutes on the
they call this
taxi,
Aberdeenshire Westlife 'cause already
takeoff
under
fuel.
30, you'll see there Stuart Donaldson.
How much,
MP.
how many kilograms do you reckon, Mike, on the takeoff? Oh, the flight fuel.
About
And the Conservatives
26,000 will do it.
26,000 kilograms.
That's what I put in. I was just looking at your weight. You've got a little bit more than me. Yeah, 26,000 kilograms, mate.
Looking quite likely, according
Okay,
to the
right.
Perth and North Perthshire. Now this was the Conservative target 88.
Let's load this aircraft.
If you get your head around that, it would seem as if the Conservative chances in Scotland may be much better than in England, but of course we haven't had a result in yet. This is what the forecast here is showing. It's what we call a
It's your birthday, dogs. Happy birthday, buddy.
But that would put the Conservative
How old are you
on
today?
50% share of the vote if the poll is accurate. A couple of others that the S&P would lose.
Oh, you're 15. Oh, congratulations, buddy.
But to the Liberal
Happy birthday for yesterday.
slightly for John Nicholson, a former TV presenter, and under the forecast, the former TV presenter goes out, and in comes Jo Swinson, who you might remember from last time. She lost her
How you doing, Burger Bob? Ex-Pilot P, how's it going?
15, and she would take it back.
It's been a busy week in politics, so just bear with us. Here in the UK, we've got our general election today, so it's a very important part of our democracy. I'll place my vote in today. I'll only tell you who I voted for if you ask nicely. SNP. No, I was joking. I voted Conservative Party. I just want to see the process go through now. So I'm very into politics since the EU referendum over in the UK. So
That we would call 50-50. They're on the cusp. We wouldn't go further than that at this stage, but that's why the exit poll is in such a sort of caveated mode.
you generally don't care who wins. If you live here in Britain, this is a big part of our future for the next 5 years. So,
Well, there you go.
and
To do with it.
yeah,
If we're seeing those
I'm
back
very into it. So unfortunately, sorry guys, but you'll be listening to it throughout tonight's flight if you'll be watching in.
which looks like quite a low lead vote, although to put it in context, it's
And rule number 10 at RichieDGaming: no politics is revoked for tonight. So,
in Scotland, we know in the sort of
how you doing, Burger Bob? You okay?
Thanks very much, Emily. Well, let's go up.
So we're still loading
to Edinburgh.
our fuel. We're flying the Jet2 Virtual 777 tonight, the 300.
We'll be entering the same caveats everybody else has, but if it's true.
So, oh shit, I ain't exported the flight. Let's
Absolutely, and the SNP themselves look a little anxious about this, but I wouldn't say that they think they're on target.
Yeah,
to
export
lose that many
successfully.
seats. They were braced for some losses, because remember, they had such an amazing result 2 years ago, where they won
Right.
56 out of the 59 seats that are in Scotland.
radio plugins on
Some of them, this would be really, really
for the what's it called, EFAS. I'm going to put custom failures on because we want to get their real-time limits off because we want to get there. So let's we're loading up, or loaded up now. So let's get the FMC going.
Who thought that they could take a few seats off the SNP. They were optimistic about something between 6 and 10, maybe even a dozen seats. They would be very happy with that in Scotland. And the campaign narrative here has been different because it's been all about independence, because it was just 3 months ago that Nicola Sturgeon said she was.
I'm thinking about buying the 777. So glad I found this.
And the Tories have cast themselves as
Well, welcome to the channel there, Avid Aviator. Hope you like what I do. So, like I said, guys, we are listening. Well, I'll be watching while we're in flight, but I'll be watching it anyway, regardless. But we'll be listening in to the general election here in the UK while we do this flight. It's very important to me that we get a good result on this general election, because it is a big part of the United Kingdom's future, especially where we are leaving the European Union over the next 2 years, and them negotiations start in 2 weeks' time. So it's very important that this result works in the United Kingdom's favour. We get the good, I'll say leadership we need, actually. We do need a good leadership at the moment. So right, let's start. We've got our air axes up to date. That's good. We are currently at Echo Golf Kilo Kilo. We're not going to put the gate in. I don't think it actually registers the gate. And to be fair, I'm not too sure. We've got a gate number here. That's not a problem. We'll just stick our GPS location in here. Go over to our route. We're going to request a route. We are going from Echo Golf Lima Kilo Kilo to Lima Echo Bravo Lima. So we'll stick that flight plan in. I'm just going to check here first. See what runway is. I'm actually watching this EU referendum on EFAS. Actually, I'll take a screenshot for you all, which is pretty fucking cool, to be honest. I think it's great. I'm just taking a screenshot for everyone to have a look. This is how I'm watching the. I love this EFAS, man. Captain Do, how are you? Don, you just checking in GTA. Checking in GTA 2 as I'm out with friends. Okay, not a problem. Oh, gotta go. Okay, yeah, no, sorry. Why did I say GTA? It says G2G. Okay, Don, not a problem. You have a great night, buddy. And we'll catch you later. So I'm just gonna check what actually, let's check our comms. Bear with us a second, guys. Just we're very not ready for this flight right now. We're just still setting everything up. So.
I should just say, Clive, before you start, we're keeping an eye, obviously, on our first result from Sunderland or wherever. Over to you.
Right, let's turn this on.
Yes, could be very interesting here in the Wandsworth area. 3 constituencies, as you say, David. Putney, Justin Greening, Conservative Cabinet Minister, big figure in the party. Pretty unassailable, it seems, according to the polls. 10,000 majority, so highly likely to retain that seat. For the Conservatives, it's the Tooting and Battersea seats that could be very interesting indeed. Tooting, of course.
We need ATIS.
London in the by-election once he stood down in 2016. The Labour Party, Rosina Allen Khan, but her majority was just over 6,000, and the Conservatives.
People says ATIS is 136 525. Oh, right, let's just turn.
Until the last 4 or 5 days of the campaign that they were making inroads. But I've talked to some of the Labour activists here. They're pretty confident that they will hang on to Tooting.
Right, ATIS 136.
Shots to all their activists in the area to come to Tooting to campaign, and
525.
They've done pretty well on the doorstep. The final seat here, Battersea, held by the Conservatives.
London Gatwick Information Whiskey. 400 Zulu weather. Wind light and variable. Visibility more than 10. Sky conditions 1400 broken. Temperature 15. Dew point 13. Area QNH 1008. Arriving runway 26 left. Departing runway 26 left. Advise on initial contact. You have whiskey.
Tell us what we should look out for in terms of verifying the exit poll, if you can do that.
This is the first real test of the exit poll and whether it's on target. This is the 2015 share of the vote. It's solid Labour. We don't expect that to change.
London Gatwick Information Whiskey. 400 Zulu weather.
2 and the Conservatives in 3rd place on 18. Now,
right.
If our forecast is on track, then Labour share of the vote will go up to 68%. Keep that figure in your mind, and when the real result comes in, if it's on or around there,
Jack, how you doing, sir?
the exit poll is correct.
ATIS 135. 44225 for London. No, we're at London Gatwick.
There could be
London Gatwick.
they're down 15%. Some gains even for the Conservatives here. And
London Gatwick haters is 136525.
Sorts of figures that we'll be putting side by side the exit poll to see if it all makes sense.
Well, that's cool. Mr. Bradley, how you doing? I'm good, thank you. So right, our Q&A. Just quickly set this up.
Well, I think seem very surprised.
I think we should always start with exit polls by suggesting what we can rule out. It seems to me that unless the exit poll is incredibly wrong, that the Prime Minister has failed to achieve
we are at
objective, which was she was going to achieve
10:00 on our Q&H.
in the next House of Commons and thereby
There, we'll set that.
over Brexit.
Let's get IFR clearance first.
Second thing that we can probably rule
Let's just
out
mute the the election for the moment. London Gatwick ground. Good evening. This is Chanix. Not too sure. Oh, that's crap. Good start. London Gatwick ground. Good evening. This is Chanix 120 Romeo Delta with information whiskey, requesting IFR to Barcelona.
Chanix 120 Romeo Delta. I have no flight plan for you. Please file a flight plan.
Chanix 120 Romeo Delta. That might help, mightn't it? I'll do that right now. I think filing a flight plan would be most beneficial, to be honest. Lima Echo, Bravo Lima. Just ready to get off to work. Jihad, how you doing, buddy? You all good? Echo Romeo Sierra. We're going out on 26 left. Save 2:45. With fuel 270. What are we doing? 500 knots.
Yeah, with ground.
Actually,
no. 81 Mike Hotel.
390. We want to do.
101. Request IFR at Amsterdam.
Stephen 81 Mike Hotel. Put your aircraft type and stand number.
Right, that's sent.
Airbus 319 and stand 101.
Stephen 81 Mike Hotel. You are good.
Doing great for Thursday. Today is my birthday, Captain Duke. Happy birthday. Are you the second guy who's had a birthday today? How old are you today?
Labour that they've said about the Conservatives.
3407 Speedbird 81 Mike Hotel.
281 Mike Hotel confirmed collecting for X-ray departure.
Happy birthday, Mr. Tech.
Is that one Mike departure?
Negative is the collecting for X-ray departure.
Can I get that in text for Speedbird 81 Mike Hotel?
Well, that's 319
Solid Foxtrot Romeo.
Right there, 298, welcome to Gatwick, straight ahead on to Juliet, stand 18.
Yeah, straight ahead, Julia, stand 18. 298.
Oh, 134225. Okay. Okay, now 8 is on 134. 225. Okay. Chenix 120 Romeo Delta, we're back with a flight plan, requesting IFR to Barcelona once again.
Chenix 120 Romeo Delta, stand by. Chenix 120 Romeo Delta, your flight plan has no route in it.
Chenix 120 Romeo Delta, we're having a problem with squat box on X-Plane, you know, because every time we just updated it, and or they've just updated it, and I noticed I had to put my route in the remarks, so I'll do that now, and we'll go from there. So.
Is that either 1960 with me?
Oh. Chenix 120 Romeo Delta, flight plan has been resent.
Chenix 120 Romeo Delta, I still haven't received the route in the flight plan.
Rich, look at the chat box.
Okay,
Right.
mate. Alright, if you put the route on it here, I can put in. Top man, Jake. Not a problem, I'll do that right now. Thank you. You can see what I'm doing with squat box, and it just doesn't make sense. As you can see, there's it's quite frustrating. Thank you, Jake. Yeah, Jack. Cheers there, Mike.
Labour have took Newcastle Central.
No way.
They're the winners.
Don't know whether it was. I don't know who had it before.
Six
Well,
X.
to read it out fast.
Can I?
Shion is the
please?
Labour MP.
I'm ready to declare the
Had a
result for
majority
Newcastle upon
last time
Tyne.
of
Labour
12,500, over 12,500.
I, Pat Ritchie, returning officer, hereby give notice that the total number of votes for each candidate for Newcastle upon Tyne Central constituency is as follows. Nick Cott, Liberal Democrats, 1,812.
Chadwick's 120 Romeo Delta. Can you just bear with us 2 moments, please?
134. David Mewat, UK Independence Party, UKIP, 1,482.
Bear with me while I watch the general election.
Chi
My God.
Onwura, Labour Party, 24,071. Peter John Stewart Thompson, Green Party candidate, 595. And that Chi Onwura has been duly elected to serve as member
Mate,
for
that's
the said
massive.
constituency.
So
Yeah,
here
but
for the
that's
first
cool.
time is the way
Nothing
we
lost there for the Conservatives.
That is a massive loss. 24,071 people voted Labour and only 9,134 voted. Oh,
last time. The first
oh, mate.
Let's hear a word from her.
Terrible murder of Joe Cox just a year ago, and following
Yeah,
the
2.1% up on last time.
in Manchester
Or Sweden, as
and
they call
London.
it.
It
Yeah.
is thanks to our police and our emergency services that the democratic process can come to such a successful conclusion. And I'd also like to thank the returning officer and all the staff.
But that wasn't Labour at Newcastle, a Labour borough anyway.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was. But it's more Labour now by 2.1% than it was
Yeah.
last time.
That's massive, isn't it? Right, let's get back to VATSIM. Jack, sorry about that. Chadwick's 120 Romeo Delta requests an IFR to Barcelona as filed.
Chadwick's 120 Romeo Delta, UK to Barcelona. Seaford 1 Zulu, equation Seaford 1 X-ray departure. Squawk 7254.
Chadwick's 120 Romeo Delta cleared to Barcelona as filed on the Seaford 1 X-ray departure. Squawk 7254 for Chadwick's 120 Romeo Delta.
Chadwick's 120 Romeo Delta, read back correct. QNH 1008.
1008 for Chadwick's 120 Romeo Delta.
Now, you know, this is a safe seat. It's not a battleground seat. The exit polls are not going to be that reliable in these kinds of seats.
Well, okay,
but
let me
this
ask.
first straw is better than straw.
Let me ask John Curtis that. Peter Governor says it's not as accurate as the seat. Is that right? Or
Oh,
you accept the analysis?
absolutely right, and I can explain why we were forecasting a big swing to Labour in the seat. One of the things that the exit poll looks as though
Gatwick ground, B81, Mike Hotel, request push and start, stand on 101.
Stuart 81 Mike Hotel, Squawk 3403.
Right, Cam.
Good night.
Good night, Cam.
Good night.
What we should note at this point is simply the direction of travel. It is a 2% swing to Labour. Yep, it is a safe seat, but it is the first sign of the night that maybe the country is going to
Stuart
drift
81 Mike
from
Hotel,
the
stand
Conservatives to
101.
the Labour
Mission
Party.
start approved.
Drift from the
Safety.
Conservatives to Labour.
Yes, we've got a 2% swing
Mission
to
start
Labour
approved,
in
facing
this
8
poll.
plus, Beaver
Drift, but not
Eight-
for Labour
81
to
Mike
take
Hotel.
Conservative. You're just saying
No,
move
absolutely.
towards
I mean,
Labour.
if we were to...
And Newcastle, of course, was 50-50 on Brexit pretty well, wasn't
Sure, yeah, but it's a much more pro-Remain Labour seat than
Yes, I take that.
is the Sunderland
I don't know what's happened to Sunderland, John. They were beavering away, but
There is no good evening.
all those white gloves and that running around.
But one of the things to say, David, that that increase in the turnout
Stuart
in
553, welcome to Gatwick,
Newcastle
Yankee
is
Juliet,
something
stand
that
one,
it is
two.
thought has occurred fairly broadly across the country. And given that one of the question marks about this election was, would people turn out, would young people in particular turn out, I would guess that the Labour Party would regard the evidence that turnout is up as relatively encouraging from their point of view.
And do you have any evidence about young people? Because we know that I can't.
No, we don't. All I can tell, well, yes and no. What I can tell you is that in general, we are finding that...
So, cheers for that, Jack. Much appreciated, buddy. Alright, we're departing out on 26 left on the Seaford 1 X-ray. No. Oh, another one in.
For each candidate for the Houghton and Sunderland South constituency is as follows.
I hope you can hear this.
Richard Peter Bradley, Green Party,
bit difficult.
725. Paul John Edgeworth, Liberal Democrat, 908. Paul Howell,
Dear God.
Conservative Party.
That connection's crap, isn't it?
324. Michael Anthony Joyce, UK Independence Party, 2,379. Bridget Lave.
It was like that on the telly just now, mate. It'll get better.
24,000.
Whoa! Labour's smashing it, mate. Sunderland, is there any universities over there? Because they're going to get the
they're all Labour areas anyway, I think.
yeah. Look, until we take off, Kings of the Lane. We're just setting up the aircraft now, buddy, so it shouldn't be too long. Ooh.
UKIP went down to 2,300 from 8,000 last time round. And if I heard it right, it was 12,300 up from 7,000.
Yeah, but Brown, Speedbird, E1, Michael Tugquest, taxi runway 26 left.
Stuart A1, Mike Hotel Taxi, Lima, Quebec, Alpha November, hold Alpha 3.
Lima, Quebec, Alpha, November, hold, short Delta, Speedbird, 81, Mike Hotel.
Right. I'm just going to see what's happening in Barcelona. Bear with us.
Stuart A1, Mike Hotel negative, hold Alpha 3.
In the UKIP vote. Now, for the Conservatives,
Putting Alpha 3, Speedbird, 81, Mike Hotel.
was UKIP voters who might have been previously Labour voters in this election they hope would go straight across to the Conservatives. And there are 71 seats.
We'll sort out our rival, will we now?
The Labour majority was smaller than the UKIP vote in 2015. Now, early days, but a pattern, even in these safe Labour seats, that the UKIP vote is crashing, and the Conservatives need that to happen right across the country if they're to end up in any kind of position to form a
and it looks as if the UKIP vote is not crashing as completely to the Conservatives as some of the projections in advance suggested, and that may be one of the reasons why Labour is doing a bit better than the pre-election polls.
I'm still trying to discover what
Chanix 120 Romeo Delta requesting push and start.
or the share or the change.
Chanix 120 Romeo Delta, stand 32, push and start approved, face west.
Push and start approved, face west. Chanix 120 Romeo Delta. Right, let's get this engine started. while we're waiting for the APU. We are going to just put the sounds back up on that.
Lost all those seats at the last election, and he is mindful of that and doesn't want to repeat that. And Lib Dem sources tonight being very clear that that position stays the same. No deals, no coalitions, no pacts. So if there is a hung parliament situation, I think the Liberal Democrats will be in a situation where both sides might want them, but they will only offer support on a vote-by-vote basis. I should add that they are not sure this exit poll is right. They are being cautious. In previous years, the exit polls had them on more seats than they ended up getting. They say that some of their key battles are too close to call. They're seeing a hardening up of the vote for Labour in some of the university seats that they hope to get. But I think at the moment they are more optimistic than I think they thought they would be at this stage.
Well, whether they have that traction, we'll discover as we get a few more results in. We now do have the Houghton and Sunderland South result, a safe Labour seat. There is the raw figures, 24,665 for Labour. UKIP in third place, Conservatives going up into second place. And the change since last time, let's just see that, or rather, yes, there's the change. Conservatives up 11 percentage points, UKIP down 16 percentage points. The swing here from Labour to Conservatives at 3.5%. So Peter Kellner, what do you make of that one?
Well, the exit poll expectation was almost the exact swing in the opposite direction, around a 3% swing to Labour. So these first two results unquestionably will be tuning the Conservatives up after a pretty grim hour. Following the exit poll, but whether that cheer will carry on through the seats that really matter, the battleground seats.
Let's get out of here, right?
What would you be looking for next as a test? Because these are both seats in the northeast, and where would you want to get your spread if to make it clearer?
It may be an hour or two before we get, because these seats rush to declare, and there may not be many in the really interesting places.
Slough, we were told Slough was going to be very quick. I don't know whether they are.
Well, Slough would be interesting. Swindon North would be interesting. Battersea and Putney, two of the relatively early London declarations, where the Conservatives might be vulnerable if they were doing really well in London. Putney brought Justine Greening, the Education Secretary. Tooting, a Labour seat, said he Khan won 2 years ago. These are the kind of seats that I think a lot of these will be waiting until 1 to 2 o'clock in the morning to get. These very, very early declarations where they rush with all those kids to get the counts done within an hour. That's the exception. Right. More or less everywhere else it'll take a lot longer.
We're joined by a familiar figure from politics, one party or another, Neil Hamilton, who's now the leader of UKIP in the Welsh Assembly. Mr. Hamilton, good evening.
Good evening.
It does look like a bit of a wipeout for UKIP then. You've done your job, you've got your Brexit, and that's it. Game's up.
Well, we've been squeezed. I mean, Theresa May intended this to be a sort of binary competition between Labour and the Tories, although it hasn't quite worked out as she expected after her disastrous campaign. But UKIP has an endearing place in Welsh politics, certainly. We have our members of the Welsh Assembly for the next 4 years. And I believe that after this disastrous election for the Conservatives, we'll be able to carve out a permanent niche for ourselves in UK politics as well, because we put forward a lot of policies in this area, which none of the other elections like slashing the non-humanitarian aid budget, the health service, scrapping green taxes, none of that really came out in this campaign, which was focused, I think, for UKIP support purely on the Brexit issue, and a lot of them have clearly gone to the Tories, without which Theresa May's position would have been very, very bleak indeed.
UKIP, it looks as though UKIP won't have any seats in Westminster. You presumably would go along with that. You don't expect to gain a seat. Yeah, no. So your strength will be in Wales.
Late one tonight. Yeah, buddy. How you doing? How you doing, Top Gun?
You could rebound from Wales.
Well, in Wales, of course, we have a proportional representation system.
Neil Hamilton, thank you very much. Let's just hear what reaction has been to these two results of the government.
Well, there's the initial shock, I think, David, in Conservative Service has subsided to some thoughts about the longer-term implications. Tim Montgomery, who's a very influential Conservative writer, just tweeted, Theresa May has been most disastrous Tory leader since, Anthony Eden, so there's some talk about how long she will last as Prime Minister. Tom Newton-Dunn, who's the political editor of The Sun, again another paper that was very supportive of Theresa May, has been in touch with senior Tories who said that they've now punched their own numbers, and this supports what Peter Kellner's been saying. After looking at the poll, the quote you've got off the record there simply just doesn't add up. More broadly, there's obviously a lot of talk about what this means for Brexit. Alison Campbell, who's been one of the most vigorous opponents of Theresa May and the Conservative plan for what he describes as a hard Brexit, says this election is a rejection of May and hard Brexit. They vote for one to go and the other to be revisited. This will be a big part of the post-election discussion. And we've got some initial foreign reaction because Carl Bildt, the former senior Prime Minister, has also put out a message saying this could be messy. This could be messy for the United Kingdom in the years ahead. Price to be paid for lack of true leadership. So
yeah, that way, Lewis. So am I, mate.
Opponents of Theresa May in Europe are looking at this with some fear.
Laura, let's just go back for a moment, please. What could get to quell anxiety, fury, plotting against the Conservative Party? What do you think now, which is obviously early exit?
Yeah, that will do us.
If the exit offers anything like that, then it is very, very dicey for her indeed. Why do I say that? Because even after the campaign, one senior Conservative said to me today, after the mistakes that she's made in the campaign, she will not be allowed to fight the next general election campaign. Now that was one view from a senior member of the party that said,
Chenix 120 Romeo Delta request taxi.
Chenix 120 Romeo Delta taxi, Kilo November Alpha Sierra Hold Alpha 2.
Taxi Kilo November Alpha Sierra Hold Alpha 2, Chenix 120 Romeo Delta. Right.
so if she ends up
there's
no overall majority, she's very, very damaged, but I think if
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome on board this Jet2.com service. As we prepare the cabin for departure, we would like to remind you to turn all electronic devices off and ensure your bags are securely stowed, either in the overhead bins or under the seat in front of you. Please ensure that your seatbelts are securely fastened. Your seat should be in the upright position with your armrests folded down. If you are seated next to a window, we would also like to ask you to keep the window blind open. Cabin crew doors to automatic cross-checked and report.
I've never understood how you learn these games. One, how do you learn the cockpit and all the buttons? And two, who is actually responding from the control tower? At the moment, it's Kings of the Land. It's I've been flying as a simmer for quite a few years, and it's actually a long-winded process. I'm not going to say it's easy. Let's just turn that off a second. To learn this is not an easy process. If anything, it's quite frustrating to learn. And I wouldn't actually suggest going into if you ever bought a simulator to off. I wouldn't say if you ever bought a flight simulator to just fly with defaults. Like if you bought FSX on Steam Edition, try not to use the defaults. Straight away, have the money there to purchase an aircraft with one of these working FMCs. Because the moment you understand this, your life and your whole flight is just so much easier. You know, but the good thing is you got YouTube to your availability, and people say, "Oh, how much does it cost as well to fly?" And it isn't as a simmer. It is not cheap. For one, you've got to purchase your simulator. It can be anything from £20 or £10 if you want FSX on a good deal, all the way up to XP11, P3D, Flight Sim World. Am I allowed to say that? I don't know. It's not a good simulator, but there's so many simulators. You've got to purchase a simulator, then you've got to purchase the aircraft. If you're using something like a simulator like FSX, Flight Simulator X or Prepared 3D, you're going to have to buy these airports to get the real representation of the airport. So there's a lot to buy there. Then to get your FMC or FSD or whatever it is on an Airbus to work correctly, you'll need to purchase AirAx. So as you can see there, nav data AirAx 1706, May 25th to June 21st of this year. You need to keep this up to date, because then if you're flying on a network like VATSIM or IVAO or Pilot Edge, you're going to be pretty stuffed. So it's not a cheap hobby. I think, to be honest, it could turn out to be a very expensive hobby to most hobbies out there. So it's just a heads up. I'm not saying don't become a simmer, because I think simming's excellent. So the more people who actually sim, the better, because the networks are full. Everyone has fun. You know, it's. But to learn the FMC, I use YouTube and watch other streamers. So it's how to use every button in this flight deck. Yeah, you need to. There's a lot of people out there that. Oh God, that's loud, isn't it? Yeah, there's a lot of people out there that help with things like this. So it's don't feel like you're on your own. As you can see, you found me as a part of the community, so it can. There's people out here who can try and help you. So it's to get you going. Oh, I jumped in on a stream, some new flight sim stream, and he was really struggling to work out an ILS, and I ended up coming on Discord with him, and I was watching his live stream on Twitch, and obviously there's a bit of a delay, so I was trying my best to coach him through how to set up an ILS, and he actually performed his first ILS with me helping him in Discord. So it is interesting. I quite enjoyed helping him, so it was well worth it, you know. But yeah, it's a lot to take in. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not a real pilot, so it is for anyone, I think, who isn't a real pilot. If you're just an enthusiast and you say, "Oh, it's easy to use this plane," and it's your first time out, there's no doubt about it, you're lying. So it isn't an easy process. Like Abo 1 has just started on X-Plane, so it's a new feeling for him coming from Flight Simulator X, you know, and Top Gun, he can't fly, so it's all good. Anyway, let's get taxiing. I did joking, Lou. You know I love you. Not in a gay way, obviously. But while we're taxiing, we're going to be listening in on this the EU referendum, the general election here in England.
That were registered to vote by post.
And one other thing, is it possible under your
gentlemen, your safety is very important to us. Subject to will be shortly showing you the safety features and procedures on board this particular type of aircraft. We know many of you have flown with us before, but every aircraft is different. It's now time we please ask you to put down your newspapers or magazines and give us your full attention. Thank you.
It's such a gorgeous aircraft.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's now time to take you through the safety features and equipment that we carry on board. So we ask you for your full attention for the short time that it takes. In the seat pocket in front of you, you will find a safety instruction card. This highlights important safety information such as escape routes, use of oxygen masks and life jackets. It also shows the bracing position, which must be adopted in an emergency landing. Emergency exits are located on both sides of the aircraft. They are clearly marked and are being pointed out to you now. There are 2 doors at the rear of the cabin, 2 over wing exits in the center, and 2 doors at the front. Please take a moment now to locate your nearest exit, bearing in mind that the nearest usable exit may be behind you. To help you find your way to these exits, additional lighting is provided in the aisle at floor level. If the cabin air supply fails, masks like these will automatically be presented from the panel above your head. When the mask appears, pull downwards, place over your mouth and nose and breathe normally, adjusting the band to secure it. Please make sure that your own mask is fitted before assisting others. A life jacket is located in the pocket beneath your seat. In the event of landing on water, and only when directed by the crew, place the life jacket over your head. Pass this tape around your waist and fasten at the front as demonstrated. Pulling this tab to tighten. Once outside the aircraft, inflate the life jacket by pulling down on this red toggle. Should it fail to inflate or require topping up, blow into this tube. There is a light and whistle for attracting attention. Do not inflate your life jacket until you are well outside the aircraft. We also carry flotation equipment for small children and babies. This will be handed out by the cabin crew should it be required. At this time, your seat belts should be fastened. To fasten your seatbelt, press the 2 metal ends together until you hear a click. Pull on the strap to adjust, and to release your seatbelt, lift the metal cover. Ladies and gentlemen, in preparation for takeoff, please now ensure your seatbelt is securely fastened. Your tables and seat backs are in the upright position, and your center armrests are locked down. Thanks for listening. It's now time to enjoy your flight.
Jet2.com. Friendly low fares.
Well, no Jet2 virtual.
So X120 Romeo Delta, no further agency available, monitoring on 122 decimal 8 on last flight.
Chanix 120 Romeo Delta. Over to Unicorn 122 this way. Thanks for good service, and we'll see you next time, Jack. Thank you. Alright, let's go. Look at this weather here in Britain. It's crap. Didn't even check to see if anyone was inbound. Yeah, there is as well. We're going to have to get out of here pretty sharpish, to be honest. Ugh. I can't see him yet, so that's good. Right, let's go. Get a debate on.
And then dived into preparations for a general election, and in the meantime, you know, almost 12 months have gone by, and during that time, the EU has.
By the way, there's an aircraft. Yeah, I just see it. Cheers, buddy. Cheers, Jack. We're out of here anyway.
In place, and they've been dotting the I's and crossing the T's. They have issued very, very detailed draft negotiating papers already on specific points.
That way we're rolling.
The amount of money it wants the UK to pay before it leaves the EU, like EU citizens' rights, the rights of citizens who stay in the UK after Brexit, and the rights of UK citizens who stay in the rest of the EU. So this is very, very detailed. Now, Theresa May said that they also had a very clear Brexit plan, but they didn't want to divulge it. But as far as the public was concerned,
how you doing, buddy?
Attitudes that were spread around. Brexit means Brexit, and so on, and no more details than that. And the EU is a big, big, big contrast. I mean, they can't keep anything a secret because there are so many.
Off we go.
Cambridge now. Cambridge, the Labour Party holds the seat. Liberal Democrats were hoping to take it. And Mo Bakshi joins us from there. Is your impression that the Liberal Democrats
we're on our way.
have taken Cambridge, or the other way around?
Jake, cheers for that, buddy.
I think the feeling very much in the hall, on the ground, is that actually Labour is going to squeak it here and hold on. It's one of the tightest battlegrounds in the country, and it has been a bitter battle between Labour and the Lib Dems. In Cambridge, as they have done nationally, the Lib Dems have fought on offering a second EU referendum. In Cambridge, if they can't take Cambridge, one of the cities with the highest Remain votes,
flaps up to 1. Stein, how are you?
Registered voters. We don't know, of course, where they're going to vote.
Coming out of the soup.
Whether they're going to vote in Cambridge or at their home address. But the sense is they have come out for Daniel Sysh's.
Oh yeah, Scott Mode Charlie. Cheers, buddy.
Labour hold here, but I have to tell you,
so much you forget. I forget on this. It's ridiculous.
Aren't being ruled out, but we do think at the moment a hold for Labour and Daniel Sysh.
We've been seeing various counting centres. Yours is particularly beautiful. Where is it in Cambridge that you are? It's a lot better than the sort of school gymnasiums that are in use around the rest of the country.
Thrust gauges there in yellow, mate.
My what?
You haven't done your cargo heat control.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's it. Cheers, buddy. Engine mode. APU still on. Fucking hell, what we're like. Oh, we'll leave that on.
So on the gens, on the generators.
Everything's on, mate.
No, engine mode. Undo those guards at the top of the engine start switches. Put them into ECC, Rich.
Oh yeah. Yeah, a big bit of lag. APU's on cool down, we're on continuous ignition at the moment, just while we climb.
There we go, we're all good.
We're there, man, we're there. 10,000 feet.
Ladies and gentlemen, you may now use electronic devices. Once we reach our cruising altitude, the flight attendants will be making their way through the cabin with food and drink.
Always learning on the flight sim world.
Taking longer is because the turnout is up again in this seat. I've been told it's 62.1%. That again around 5% higher than it was in 2015. It's a funny atmosphere here in this vast
it's funny, isn't it, that Labour's already got the first 2 seats and no one's got any seats at the minute. But it's going to be interesting because remember on the EU referendum we had Gibraltar, and then the North started voting straight away, didn't they, to remain. I was actually panicking, thinking, shit, we're stuck in the EU. And then obviously it turned around, didn't it, massively when it hit all the London boroughs.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, I remember that. It was going horribly wrong for the people that wanted out, but in the middle of the night it all changed.
It did, didn't it? Yeah. I woke up to realising that we are actually leaving the European Union. The most corrupt thing to hit Europe. Do you know what I mean? I was like, yes! Big Bird flying out Dubai. Oh, nice one, Lou. How is everyone today? Everyone excited about this EU referendum, or are they more interested? If you're into politics, mind you, rule number 10 at RichieDGaming is no politics, but tonight we are accepting political views. So let us know. I want to know how you guys feel tonight. Are you interested in the EU British elections here in Great Britain, or are you more interested about Donald Trump losing his job after less than 6 months being in office? Let us know, man. Who did you vote for, Richard? Hey, Mr. Buku, River Settle. I actually voted Conservative for a lot of factors. Actually, there's more factors for the reason of my votes just to stay with Conservative than
I see you
anything
on EFAS now, Rich.
Oh, real man. Whereabouts are you?
I'm stuck over Paris still, mate. Paused.
Oh right, sorry mate, I'll be there shortly.
That's alright. If this was FSX it would have opened by now.
It'd have all been over, wouldn't it? So yeah, I voted Conservative. For one, Theresa May is willing to use the red button if need be for the safety of us here in Britain, and it's she's not afraid to use it as a deterrent for any invasions or anything. Plus we need a nuclear deterrent since we're leaving the European Union, because France is the only other European country which has nuclear power. So, and they only own, I think it's 0.5%, where we actually own 1% of the world's nuclear armed forces armament, the nuclear armament. So we need a deterrent. Theresa May, even though it's not in her manifesto, she is willing to adjust and reform the Human Rights Act for suspected terrorists, and even though it's not in her manifesto, I think she'll keep to that word. If it works not in the British favour or the victims' favour, that she'll amend the Human Rights Act. Plus, we're 2 weeks away. Great Britain is 2 weeks away from leaving the European Union. So, to be fair, we need to be part. We need to stay with what we've got. We've had Theresa May and the Conservative Party for the last 8 years now. So that we need to. I feel we need to continue with this pass. The Conservative. How you doing, Jay Snaps? You alright, buddy? There'll still be NATO through, right? Yeah, we'll still be.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Jamie, and I am your cabin manager. If there's anything myself or the rest of the crew can do to help you today, please don't hesitate to ask. We do recommend you keep your seatbelt fastened in case of any turbulence. If you fall asleep, we wouldn't want to disturb you, so please do keep the buckle visible. We are a non-smoking airline,
She's got a very nice voice.
at any time. There are sensitive smoke detectors in all toilets, and keeping your safety in mind, Jet2 has a zero-tolerance policy to disruptive behaviour of any kind. For security reasons, passengers are not permitted to stand in the forward galley area when queuing for the toilets.
Oh yeah.
To avoid congestion in the cabin area, may we ask those passengers only from rows 1 to 11 XP11 to use the front toilet and remaining
Audio
passengers to
cruise.
use those which are
Well, I've got
situated
flaps down
at
one.
the rear. We will shortly be commencing our in-flight service. We have a full range of drinks and snacks available from our onboard bar. Check out our full range in our in-flight magazine, which can be found in the seating area. We would like to advise you that any alcohol purchased from the bar service may be consumed on board the aircraft. We also have a limited amount of champagne available. If you would like to order one, please inform one of the cabin crew. We also have a fantastic range of perfumes, aftershaves, watches and jewellery. We'll give you massive savings compared to high street prices, and you can find out more in the onboard magazine. Thanks for choosing Jet2, and we hope you enjoy your flight with us.
Beautiful looking 777 though, isn't it?
What's that stewardess look like?
Fit. Very fit. Joe Snats, we'll still be part of NATO, but if the European Union was that stupid, say, to leave NATO, and when we've left the European Union and given up our nuclear deterrent, turn around and say, well, we own France, so we've got nuclear power and you haven't, we'll force you to pay us what we want. And not a bit funny, you don't know. This is a cartel organisation. Do you know what I mean? What runs the European Union, in my opinion. So you just don't know. So Theresa May, in my opinion, is very willing to. She says she'll in numerous amounts, and I think she is true to say to her word, where she says, if I needed to use nuclear power, push the red button, I bloody well would. So yeah. Where I think I can't remember the actual terminology. Can you tell me those? Plan for Saturday's stream, please. Yeah, not a problem, Mike. I will do. Yeah, I just feel that there's. It's more safer right now to sacrifice 5 years of change. Another 5 years of change just to know that we get a good deal with the European Union. We leave with dignity and pride, and also we need to sort out our NHS. That is one thing I didn't vote for Conservative, because the NHS is fucked, and our national health care to go to if you break your leg, and my local A&E Queen's Hospital is a 12 to 14 hour wait every minute of the day. 24/7. It's a 12 to 14 hour wait to see a triage nurse. So yeah, the NHS needs sorting out in Great Britain, but there's not much. I just feel it's going to be safer in the country at the moment. The stability we need is Conservative, because they're an organised government. Labour is not organised. They're not ready. They can't give us numbers, even though as much as Theresa May doesn't tell us what we want to hear. She does it for a reason, you know, and the reason is we're leaving the European Union. If she tells us the people, every move, you've got to remember the European Union will be watching in on us, so they'll be able to decoy us into with not getting good deals and etc. So yeah, it's I get her point. Plus she's got a big ass job on her hand, man, which she's got to take us out of the European Union. 2 years of the toughest negotiations, which leads from everything from straight away, I'll drop it in, immigration and border control within the United Kingdom, and our closest border would be Southern Ireland, which is actually part of Great Britain. It's attached, so it's a bit like France and Germany, or France and Italy. France and Spain are attached European countries. So we've got Southern Ireland and Northern Ireland, which would need to come up with a major deal. We've got Gibraltar and Spain, and we've also got the English Channel with England and France, where we've got to come up with negotiation deals there. They've then got to talk about immigration in Great Britain. What we're going to do with the people, the foreigners from the European Union who are actually working over here and living in the UK. Then we've got to talk about our British citizens who are actually living in European countries. like France, Germany, Spain, Cyprus, Greece, everywhere. So that's, oh hang on, we've got another one coming in. Let's see who this is.
Is as follows. Sean Christopher Coburn, Independent, 305 votes. Julie Elliott, Labour Party, 25,000.
Oh my God.
Rachel Sarah Featherstone, Green Party candidate, 705 votes.
It's only the number of Labour polls.
Yeah, this isn't good.
Dane Hodgson, Liberal Democrat, 1,777 votes. Gary James Layton, UK Independence Party, 2,209 votes. Robert Jeffrey Oliver, Conservative Party, 15,059
Wow, that's
votes.
a big difference, man.
And I therefore declare that Julie Elliott has been duly elected to serve as member for the said constituency, and I'd like to invite the candidate to say a few words.
Okay, so once again, Sunderland Central, this is the third result we've had in.
Sunderland, man, yeah, it's all Labour, isn't it?
Conservatives than the exit poll suggested, worse for Labour than the exit poll suggested. Labour hold it, of course, you can see with the majority.
It does Jet 2 have a 777? I think it actually does. It does operate a 777. Not too sure if it's the 3 or 2 or 300, but it does look good, doesn't it?
Labour up 5, Conservatives up 10, UKIP down 14, and this is the one to look at, a swing from Labour to the Conservatives of...
It's me, Gav. How you doing, Gav? Yeah, but I'm not too concerned, or like everyone's got them.
This is on the
okay, don't worry about it.
On the 20th of May.
Don't worry about it. That result.
Yep.
The thing is that everyone's got their reason for voting, and that's the thing I like about the general election, is that we've actually all got our own reasons to vote. I voted Conservative. I'm not going to knock anyone for voting anyone else. This isn't us leaving the European Union. This is us controlling our own country, and the great thing about this is that we've all got our right to choose. And yeah, I voted Conservative for my own personal reasons, and the way I think the country would be better run with Conservative at the moment, especially with like I said, leaving the European Union in 2 weeks' time. If the way I see it, if that Corbyn from Labour Party can't tell us how many students that need food tickets in schools, in primary and senior schools, if he hasn't got numbers on that, how the hell is he going to get organised? For 2 weeks from now, we'll be starting the biggest negotiations with this country, leaving the European Union. That's a big ordeal. I'm sorry, it is a massive ordeal. But, I'm not going to knock anyone or slag anyone off for voting anyone else, unless you voted Lib Dem. Fucking hell, that geezer looks like Tintin. You can't have someone looking like Tintin running the country. Surely. But, guys, this weekend, Saturday and Sunday, obviously Friday night, I'll be doing the Friday night mix on RichieDofficial.com. It's now up. We've got a temporary Wazstain website with a chat box and everything. So if you go to RichieDofficial.com, you'll see the link for that. We're also on TuneIn Radio, Richie D Official. We'll start that at 8 PM again on Friday night. We'll go live with this, with the Friday night mix. We've got Mike Abbott-Smith. Mike, are you live on Saturday?
Yeah.
You are, brilliant. We've got Mike Abbott-Smith on Saturday night, doing the Saturday Night Gold from 8:30 PM GMT, bringing you all your Motown and stuff. And then while he starts that, well, in the morning Saturday, I will be getting up early because we are taking Jet 2 on an adventure for the weekend in the 777. We haven't done some. This is like the test run to make sure it's all running fine and AirX and the FMC is working well in this aircraft. At the moment, this is running absolutely perfectly. We're just coming over to France now, as you can see. We are flying from London Gatwick to Dubai. And then when we get to Dubai, which is about a six-hour flight from Gatwick, we'll be refueling, and we'll be either right. We've got 3 locations. You guys have got to pick. We're going to either we're flying out of Dubai, heading west, and we'll be either landing at San Francisco, Phoenix, or Vancouver. So this is your choice for Saturday. It's going to be a long flight. We're going to be, but we want to be getting to. We want to get to Dubai first. We want to head to Dubai from Gatwick. We'll be flying with Jet 2 Virtual on smart cars and on VATSIM. I am staying awake for the entire flight. We're going to be hopefully on ATC coverage the whole way, and it's going to be cool. And it'll be good to have a little bit of a group flight with you guys on VATSIM if you're up for it. Plus, again, we're still raising money for me running the London Marathon. If you feel like you're able to donate a little bit, it all helps. So we can you can watch me suffer next year when I run the London Marathon 2018. Dear God, it's gonna hurt. But at the moment, we're not playing no music on this flight. I'm flying a triple, making sure it all works. It's looking smooth. The sim, I feel, is looking incredibly smooth. I hope it's looking smooth for you lot. And I'm listening in on the results of the UK general elections. So, and Labour are winning 3 seats at the minute to everyone else. That is right. What I'm saying there is, UK seats. Labour's got 3, haven't they?
Yeah.
I was, because this morning I was not sure on who to vote for. I was so not sure who to vote for. I was going to just vote SNP. It'd be some Scottish woman going, "Here, get your fucking tits out." I can't do a Scottish accent, but it's something like that. Well, guys, we just survived in
Labour have got the
France.
first 3 seats that have been returned.
Brilliant. Well, it's whatever the outcome is. Whoever wins this has to make this country great, or sort it out. There's a lot to sort out, mate. I can't see Corbyn being our Prime Minister, mate. He looks like one of the Senate in Gladiator. You know the film Gladiator. You know where they wear all the white robes. That's what he looks like. Go to San Francisco. Labour 3 and Conservatives 1. No, Conservative haven't got any seats at the minute, Gav. Oh, I'm watching it online. Okay, I might be a bit delayed here then.
Of the SNP. Also, Fife, where Nicola Sturgeon was last week, trying to shore up Stephen Gethin's vote. If they lose North East Fife, the Liberal Democrats, that shows that the Liberal Democrats are again on their way back in Scotland. What is not clear from the Glasgow vote here is that Labour may take 1 Glasgow seat. We don't know yet. But there's no sign of a Labour return in Scotland. It will definitely be...
Yeah, Jake, we've done...
Come off the network.
No, I'm still here, mate. Why is that?
I can't see you on EFAS anymore.
And Kirsty, how long?
I'm just coming over Le Havre, the Port, Western France, Northern France.
Oh, you might be under a little waypoint label there, I can see.
Yeah, I'm underneath Uniform November 85 something.
We'll rejoin you. Well, I expect we'll join you before then, but we'll rejoin you then.
I love the fact I'm watching the general election through EFAS browser, which is sick. What time are you streaming Saturday? Bob, on a serious, I want to be starting at 10 o'clock in the morning. I want to be live and up and running by 7, off the ground by 11 o'clock.
I think
So,
our news
they're
must
the
be a
latest.
bit behind, because somebody's there saying it's 4-1. I'm just able to win a 4th seat here now.
I mean, I know he's got a lot of...
Oh, right, okay, well, I'm a tad behind everyone else then.
Yeah, the iPlayer is. This is Newcastle East being announced here now.
Okay, mate, we'll just listen in.
Labour are going to smash
personal
this.
performance in the campaign and the actual result.
We weren't clear whether Sheffield students were still in residence or whether they've all gone home at the end of the term.
Janet, how you doing?
His constituency is very much a student constituency.
Good question.
I leave you with that one. All right, you go and work that one out while we go. You do know the answer.
Well, students have the confusing thing of being able to register in 2 different places, so it's always very hard to work out. But just on the Lib Dems nationally, whatever the exit poll says, Lib Dem HQ right now are saying that they would be pretty content with holding their ground, which of course last time round was 8 MPs in the House of Commons. So what I suspect might happen is a change in terms of which seats they are, but they said that they can
Newcastle East result.
Right, I've resumed flight now, mate.
Okay, buddy.
Nicholas Hugh Brown, Labour Party, 28,127.
June.
Candidate, 755. Simon John Kitchen, the Conservative Party candidate, 8,866.
Okay, Jake, I just see that.
Independence Party, UKIP, 1,315. Wendy Barbara Taylor, Liberal Democrats, 2,000.
Dear God, mate, that's Newcastle again.
Yeah,
Nicholas Hugh Brown has been
Oh God, yeah, of course.
to serve as member for the said constituency.
Nick Brown, the victor there, the opposition chief whip, close to Gordon.
I bet you any money right now, Theresa May's sitting there going, what the fuck have I just done?
A good result for the Conservatives in Newcastle East.
Oh, right, yeah,
let's go to
Newcastle
Swindon,
East.
where we have a count, I hope.
It's because of
Swindon.
the two. Oh, okay, right. Let me
Andrew Headley John Bentley.
change that now.
Party, 858. Mark Edward Dempsey, Labour Party, 21,096. Stephen Frank Holden, UK Independent Party, 1,564. Justin Paul Tomlinson, the Conservative Party candidate, 29,400. And Elizabeth Margaret Webster, Liberal Democrat, 1,962. And there were 104 rejected ballots.
Swindon North.
And I do hereby declare that Justin Paul Tomlinson is duly elected as Member of Parliament for North Swindon.
So no one actually voted Conservative in Swindon North.
And I'd like to pay my tribute and thanks to the returning officer.
Well, once again, the sound quality is abysmal from these places. It's meant to be in 2017, not 1917.
I ain't seen that
It's
one yet.
absurd. But anyway, there are the
It's been
figures
on,
that
is
will
it?
show you. We have managed
Yeah,
to
Swindon North's just come
extract
through,
them
isn't
now,
it?
But here they are, the Conservative on 29,431 and Labour on 21,000. The share 54.38.43.
Oh, Conservative just won Swindon North. Sorry, my
We've been
mistake.
trying to get rid of it for the last 3 days.
54%, Labour 38.
Applies to what, yes. And here is the change. Conservatives
gotcha.
up 3, Labour up 11, UKIP down 12, a 3.7% swing from Conservative to Labour. John, how does this ally itself with your exit poll? I mustn't call it your exit poll, with the exit poll.
The exit poll, this is actually a slightly better result for Labour than we expected from the exit poll. The Conservatives have won. We expected the Conservatives to hold this. Had a couple of swings to the Conservatives. We've had a few, 2 or 3 swings to Labour. I mean, that said,
Quite impressive, to be honest.
To get swings to Labour, including, for example, in the South.
I wasn't expecting Labour to get this
about the Conservatives' chances of getting the landslide the Prime Minister originally had in mind. If she's going to get a landslide, frankly, virtually every constituency in the country should be swinging to the Conservatives.
It's midnight. I've never known an election with so few results in at midnight, but it is midnight. I'll come to you in a moment.
Shit, it is. It's just gone 12.
Stuff. Amal's got results from the newspapers who seem to be speculating just as we're speculating on the exit poll. But as it's midnight, let's have the news. Here's Rita Chakrabarti.
Hello. Counting is underway in the 2017 general election amid widespread surprise at the results of an exit poll published by the BBC, ITV and Sky. It indicates that the Conservatives will be the largest party but will lose 17 seats, leaving them with 314. Labour, it suggests, will get 266 seats, a rise of 34. The early results have seen Labour retaining seats in North East England. Tom Bateman has the very latest.
The exit poll is out. It's watched closely by all the politicians, but it's still just a prediction. It has the Conservatives as the largest party, but short of an overall majority. The poll suggests the Tories would have 314 seats, down 17 on 2 years ago. It puts Labour on 266 seats, up 34. The SNP would get 34 seats and the Lib Dems 14.
This is a projection. I think you made that clear. It's not a result. These exit polls have been...
Gus Witt. This is not FSX. This is X-Plan.
Vote. I think in a couple of elections before that, they overestimated our votes.
Theresa May had promised us on 7 different occasions that she wouldn't go for a snap general election, and she went for it. And she went for it on the basis of wanting to secure a mandate that she already had, and people just saw through that.
It's the real votes that count, though, and there's the traditional race to see which constituency could declare first.
I will stand up for Newcastle Central.
Labour have held Newcastle Central, a safe seat for them, increasing their majority by more than 2,000.
Good evening, Mr. Corbyn. How are you feeling?
Jeremy Corbyn arrived home in his North London constituency tonight. If the exit poll is correct, a big...
I love the way they use the word constituency.
The expectations of even his own MPs, while Theresa May's gamble to win big in a snap election will have failed. But the night is young, and the truth inside those ballot boxes is yet to be revealed. Tom Bateman, BBC News.
Well, with the news of the exit poll, the pound has been falling against other currencies, including the dollar and the euro. Let's get the latest reaction now from Sharanjit Lail, who's in Singapore for us. Sharanjit, tell us more about what's going on.
Well, that's right. As you say, the most immediate reaction in the markets has been from the British pound, sterling falling nearly 2% against the US dollar after that exit poll suggested the Conservative Party could lose its parliamentary majority. But it's since scaled back some of those losses. It's down just about 1% now against most of the major currencies. And that's as the first results come in and show that the swings in the exit poll have not been reflected. That's given the Conservative Party some hope that the poll might not be as bad as suggested. And of course, investors have also been closely watching other developments away from the UK elections. There's the testimony from the former FBI chief James Comey in the US, and there was also...
Sorry, Gus, that's okay, buddy. Yeah, this is X-Plane 11. So it is a tad smoother than FSX. So, okay, mate. Just what? Yeah, Bob. I'll be starting around about. I want to be on the sim. I want to be live on Twitch at 10 o'clock on Saturday morning. And within the hour, we want to be heading out to Dubai. So.
Gives us a chance to see the progress of the parties. Let's just pave the path to the door of number 10, shall we? Using as paving stones the seats the exit poll says the parties have won. So Conservatives short of the finishing line of 326 and Labour some way back like that. We can do this a few more times as the night goes on. We can see whether the Conservatives possibly cross this line, but at the moment
See if
the
anyone's,
exit poll has them falling short. 326 seats needed
Someone's
for an
coming
overall
into
majority in the House of
land,
Commons,
so-
and the Conservatives on 314. And if you just focus on the seats at the end here, these are the ones that the exit poll have very much as 50-50. So if you're a Conservative MP, if you're Johnny Mercer in Plymouth Moorview or Carl McCartney in Lincoln, don't yet jump off the sofa in celebration, because we can't be certain you are back in Parliament. These are very, very nip and tuck, these constituencies towards the end. And all of them are predictions, which is why they are coloured in dark blue. But 314 at the moment is what the exit poll says, short of the overall majority. Take a look at Labour. Come down Downing Street with me now, and let's have a look at the Labour line and see where they end up. So they've made a substantial advance, more than 30 seats in the exit poll. And again, these are, we don't have, at the end of the line, we don't have the ones, the actual results we've seen in, which will be in solid red. So we're still dealing very much with forecasting here. And you can see these are the ones for Labour that are very, very, very nip and tuck, very close in the exit poll, 50-50. So Thurrock would be a gain. Jackie Dole-Price was the MP there. Gain, that would be from the Conservatives. Newport West is now pretty marginal under the exit poll. That's been Labour's for a while. High Peak was a constituency that Labour held in the Blair years. Plymouth Sutton would be a gain. Morley and Outwood, of course, was Ed Balls' seat, so he lost it just 2 years ago. It may well be it's back in the red column. So it's very interesting, but of course it is still exit poll territory. And here's the fascinating thing. If you go back to 2010, when the Conservatives fell short of an overall majority, they had 306 seats. So the line, when we did Downing Street then, their line of seats ended up about here. If we go back to 2015, the last general election, despite the predictions that they were maybe going to undershoot, actually they crossed the line, and David Cameron in his second general election went across and had 331 seats. So this result here, if this is the result, puts them absolutely midway between 2010, when they needed to be in coalition, and 2015, when they had an overall majority. And of course, as has been said, it makes the calling of the election look like a very, very bad idea indeed. David?
I want that
Thank
green
you very
screen
much.
he's got.
We'll be back and watching the road to Downing Street from time to time. We've had a result in number 6.
Sunderland West, David, and a slightly mixed picture in the seats we've had in so far. This is a safe Labour seat. Sharon Hodgson was sitting on a majority of over 13,000 before she has been returned. Of course, that was never really in any doubt, but it is slightly lower. It is a swing this time round to the Conservatives. You can see Labour on a 61% share of the vote, Conservatives on 29%.
This is interesting, man.
But if you look at what that shows you in terms of the change, the Conservatives have done better. They're up 10 percentage points to Labour's 6, both of them gaining, it would seem, from a big drop in the UKIP vote. And as I said, this swing quite similar to the one in Newcastle Central toward the Conservatives, away from Labour, of around 2%. So nothing's become any clearer, really, about the direction of travel of either party more widely in the UK from these.
So Emily Thornbury joins us now, Shadow Foreign Secretary. Emily, good evening. Thank you for coming in. Now, you made the call at the very beginning of this evening, once the exit poll came out, that Theresa May should resign. Why should she resign?
Well, think about it. She called this election when she thought that she was 20 points ahead in the polls.
Oh, this
she said that she wanted
drives
to
me
have a
fucking
mandate
cuckoo.
for Brexit. She basically wanted to stamp out the opposition. She wanted to be able to have a blank cheque, a free hand, to do whatever she wanted with the country in terms of Brexit negotiations, in terms of what she was doing to the National Health Service. And the country has said no. And the country has looked to the Labour Party, and we have put forward a positive alternative. The star of our show was our manifesto, which shows that we have another vision for where we want to take the country. And we have turned it around, and we have fought a very positive campaign. And if she wanted to get a mandate out of this election, she hasn't got it.
But you're
This one cracks me up. Right.
But I think
interesting news. I'm in Austin, Texas. Very cool seeing what's going on there. Nice flying as well. Thank you very much. And may I say, I was listening in on London's LBC today, London's biggest conversation of what's happening over your neck of the woods with Mr. Trump again. and the FBI. That is an interesting listening today. So I think both sides of the pond have got things going off at the moment. So yeah, it's interesting. It's very, very interesting what's going on in the West at the minute. You know, it is crazy there too. I've got friends over there, Kedolly. It's a bit nuts, to be honest. But it's a bit nuts everywhere in the world right now, isn't it? So I think the only place what isn't nuts. Oh, hang on.
Some of the national parties. Wales.
Yeah, this tonight we're not having no music on the background. We're just following throughout the flight. I'm going to be following the general election here in Great Britain. So a lot of people are probably going to go, "Well, the fuck politics." I know, but I'm right into my politics at the minute. So rule number 10 in the rules list on my information on Twitch TV is exempt. It's non-existent today. With no politics, because politics is great. I feel it's great because we live in a world of a democracy. In America, in Great Britain, in Australia, New Zealand, we all live under a democracy. I think
that Jeremy Corbyn may go to number 10, make his hands with the Queen, or whatever.
So it's you know, we're lucky. We the people have a choice, you know, and it's like we chose to leave the European Union. The majority spoke. I was one of them who chose to leave Europe. It's not because we hate the Europeans. It's nothing to do with that. It's because we're not part. We haven't got a choice in the European Union. Our laws are governed for us. There's 1,800 regulations on a toothbrush. And someone in the European Union gets paid for that. It's insane. I was really shocked with the result. The president result in France. I really thought the woman was going to win it. The opposition, you know, who wants also France to have a referendum. I was really shocked she didn't win it. I really thought she'd have got more votes than what she got. So. But politics is very much close to my heart, especially since just before the Brexit. So it was because I had to understand it and get involved in politics to understand what I was actually voting for. And when I looked at it, I was really shocked that Great Britain isn't allowed, you know, to create its own laws. It's all done by the European Union, and it's just insane. And the amount of money we pump into the European Union is colossal. I think we're the second biggest contributor into the European Union. So us potentially leaving the European Union, we potentially own the buildings there in Brussels for the amount of money we pumped into it. Plus they're trying to con us into a bill. It's, you know, when you could sometimes say in your life, "I told you so," and yeah, it's one of them situations. Anyone who disagrees, on what? Leaving the European was a good thing. I totally agree with you there, Angry. I had this debate with an American friend of mine. Wow, we got some turbulence here. Look at that wing flex. We're flapping. I had this debate with an American friend of mine before the Brexit. And he said, "Yeah, mate, we've got exactly the same thing in Florida, what you've got." And I've gone, "Oh, what's that then?" He's gone, "Immigration and massive amounts of Mexican immigration." I've gone, "Mate, you have no idea what we're going through." Not to knock him or diss him or anything, but he's saying, "Yeah, well, we've got just as much immigration as you." I've gone, and that's his words, illegal immigration. I've gone, you've got this all wrong. I don't think you understand what's going on in Britain. And he said, what? I said, it's going, it's the same. I said, it's nothing of the sort. I said, at the end of the day, having illegal immigration, I feel, would be okay because you can control it. You can control illegal immigration to some extent. But where we have no control on our immigration, our immigration is legal immigration. So any member state of the European Union is a bit like living in Texas and you want to move to Ohio. You can get on a plane or in your car and drive there, and you can settle up home there. Yeah, you can build a house or buy a house and you can live there. You can work in the local area, no questions asked. Well, us being part of the European Union is exactly the same. The difference between the United States of America and the United States of Europe, which is just an insane idea, is in America, my God, them wings. What the fuck is going on with my plane? We're flapping. So hang on a sec. This is fucked up. What happened? What's going on with my plane? Are we going to be doing this all the way to San Francisco? Well, I'm not going to lie, that's quite crazy, to be honest. Right, we got a little bit of an error happen here, which I don't know what it is. It's got to be the weather.
One was our small majority was proving very, very difficult, and the budget vote showed another 4 years of this could be chaotic. Not to be able to carry your budget is quite a serious crisis. So
what's the winds?
Trying to get a better majority.
Oh right, okay, that could be why. We've got a 40-knot crosswind. So we're battling a crosswind there. Which is quite interesting, to be honest. That is fucking crazy. How far out are we? Oh, we're miles out. Yeah, like I said, it's one of them where we are getting told by countries. Sorry, what I was saying was there's a big difference. There's a fundamental difference between the United States of America and the United States of Europe, where being part of the European Union or the United States of Europe, we haven't got no rights. Plus, it's all laws are governed by a bureaucracy, not a democracy. And even though we've got people within the European Union, we have absolutely no power to create our own laws. We've got a law of the Human Rights Act and the Human Rights Law, where the only people benefiting from the European Human Rights Act are criminals and terrorists. They're the only ones benefiting from them laws, and it's not on. I'm sorry. People might think, "Oh, Richie the racist." I am far from it. You know, I'm far from racist. It's just scary that this is. The immigration was my biggest reason for leaving. Oh, here we go. Got another one coming in.
A very healthy majority of 10,300 or so. Not much change here. Labour, you can see, on a substantial 55% share of the vote. If I show you what's happened, it's all in that fall in the UKIP vote, down 13%, going to both the Conservatives and to Labour as well. The swing is very, very marginal indeed. 0.6% swing. It is from Labour to the Conservatives. But on those 7 results we've had in so far, overall there has been more of a swing to Labour, well, a swing in more of them. This is how the exit poll that you saw at the beginning of the night compares the results we've had in so far. This is a seat-by-seat comparison, so it takes into account those 7 results we've had in. And as you can see, the UKIP one, the UKIP column is pretty much bang on there. We said down 14% and the results show down 13%. What it looks as if, though, is if we might be starting to recalibrate in our future forecast some of that Conservative vote, which is much higher on the ones we've had in than we had predicted. Labour vote we had up 15%, and it's actually come up 9%. You won't see anything in the SNP column for the simple reason that the SNP don't stand in any of the seats. So this is very specific, very localised to what we've had in so far. But you can start to see different shapes emerging there to the ones we've had.
Thank you very much. Now, we've been joined by Andrew Marr. No, don't speak. I just said we've been joined by Andrew Marr, but Andrew, just before...
don't speak.
Neil, bursting. I've always got the newspaper headlines. They've been speculating just like we have on the result. Let's just hear that, and then I'd like to hear your take on the whole thing.
We have indeed. We've got the first editions. I mean, Andrew will know from his time editing a newspaper, and indeed when I was editor of a newspaper, that these evenings can be a nightmare for newspapers because they have to produce multiple editions. And the first editions are in, they have dropped, and they're pretty brutal for the Prime Minister. This is the Daily Mirror, no friend of Theresa May necessarily. It says hanging by a thread. The Guardian says exit poll shock for May. Pretty negative for May as well, and in fact I'm sure all tomorrow's headlines will be
Daily Mirror's getting,
Daily Mirror's getting a hell of a lot of promotion
here.
But rest assured they're all pretty negative. The Sun says mayhem, and the Daily Telegraph says shock for May as exit polls point to a hung parliament. We've also got some interesting reaction from Lord Ashdown. Lord Ashdown achieved a certain degree of notoriety for his response to the last exit poll in 2015. He says that basically this shows, if the exit polls are right, Britain is more polarised than ever in my lifetime. Really now time for the centre to get its act together. So I was saying, David, that one of the themes emerging in the online conversation about this result is that this is about a divided country. A country not just divided
massively
between Labour and the Tories,
divided,
but between the young and the old, between Leave and Remain, which is a theme I know we'll be coming back to. And Nigel Farage has spoken, the former UKIP leader. He has said, whatever the true result, the Conservative Party needs a leader that believes in Brexit.
Of course, Paddy Ashdown said he used his hat last election, didn't he?
He did. He hasn't mentioned his hat this time, as far as we're aware. But
he's already eaten it.
He's probably already eaten it. Yeah, exactly. Well, he ate it last time, so
he did.
He's got no hat left.
All right, Andrew Marr.
So, like I was saying, it's one of them, isn't it? The European Union is probably good for free trading. It is good for free trading within European states and within the world, I think. But we're very restricted being within the European Union. We have a thing called the Commonwealth, which is the Royal Alliance, really. It's like the Commonwealth Alliance thing, where the Queen... It's saying the Queen put together. I'm not really too sure what it's about and how it works, but it involves England, Great Britain, United Kingdom, India, Australia, New Zealand, Canada, and other countries like in Africa. I'm not too sure, but we're not, because we're part of the European Union. We are not allowed to trade with these people, which is wrong. You know, nor is anyone within the European Union. Like Greece was a bit of an unstable country before it joined the European Union, but when it joined the European Union, they went into bankruptcy more or less instantly. And it's sad because my nan's a Greek, you know, and it sounds like, from what I see, living in Britain, and I am a European, you know, I'm part of Europe, is the European says it's a trading market of 500 million, a free trading market of 500 million souls, right? Well, it isn't, and this is what people don't realise. You've got 500 million people within the European Union states, but you haven't got free trading with 500 million because the whole of the Mediterranean is fucked. Sorry for the expressions, but it's true. It is wrecked. The European Union has bankrupt the Mediterranean. All the islands are screwed. Everything's so expensive that people will have no choice but to move out of the islands. That's Greece, Italy, Spanish islands. Greece is wrecked, Italy's wrecked financially, Spain's wrecked, Portugal's wrecked. How many bailouts has Great Britain and other the wealthy countries in the European Union had to bail out? Portugal, we've had to bail out 3 or 4 times, all because of the greed of the European Union. So we haven't got 500 million trading souls. We have more like maybe 200 million, which is a substantial amount of a decrease in what their predictions really is. So they're false advertising to us civilians, the European Union, that they've got a massive free trading market. No, they've got Germany. Do you know what I mean? For their motor vehicles, they've got Italy for motor vehicles. They got French for cheese, you know. And you know, everyone seems to panic that the dollars, the pounds dropped here, but that just means that people are going to buy more of our goods. So it isn't all bad. It's just bad if we go on holiday as Brits. Our pound's not worth much. And yeah, sorry, I didn't see the chat there. Cardley, this is SkyMax Pro. That's why it's lagging like a bitch. Plus, there's going to be a European army, which is pretty scary. Since in America, yeah, you can have a United States of America's army. Everyone speaks the same language. Everyone lives by the same morals. You know, the majority of people joining the U.S. Armed Forces are Christians, so there's not really a belief problem. Oh, hang on, another one's coming in.
Yeah, I'm going to bring you Kettering first of all. This is the result we've just had in. It's a Conservative poll.
Yes.
Never really in doubt. A solid
Conservative
majority for Philip Hollowbone of 10,562. You can see a very solid 58% share of the vote there. The change overnight shows Labour making gains of 11% to the Tories 6%. There is no UKIP candidate this time round. They had 16% share of the vote. So that might explain why both of these main parties are up. The swing this time round then has gone from the Conservatives to Labour of about 2.6%. So not in doubt, but showing a direction of travel certainly towards the Labour Party here.
The Kettering one. Just hold it for a second, yes.
Really interesting, unusual seat because Mr. Hollowbone, the Conservative candidate, had done.
As an American, I knew Europe was becoming more socialist over the years, but didn't realise it was that so bad. Well, put it this way, Veta, where I live in one of the London boroughs. I actually live in the London borough of Havering, which we'll see probably soon because we in the European Union, in the Brexit vote, our London borough had a 75% to leave the European Union on the Brexit result because. Oh, another one coming in. Hang on one sec.
Which is Alex Salmond's constituency, the former First Minister of Scotland and former SNP leader. It's got interesting. Told the Conservatives are very happy with the early returns from the ballot papers, but a proviso to that, the Lib Dems are seeing support there as well. So that could mean two things. It could mean a split in the opposition vote and Mr. Salmond coming through the middle, but it could be really, really interesting, and a shock just might be in the cards in Gordon. To put that into context, the northeast of Scotland was a part of the country where the Conservatives were hoping to do well. They are confident of taking 2 other seats here in Aberdeen South and Aberdeenshire West and Kincardine.
So as far as you can tell, the Conservatives think these things are going their way. How many seats do you think in Scotland as a whole?
Well, the Conservatives were hoping maybe 6 or 7 seats in Scotland and North East. Both those seats I mentioned, Aberdeen South and Aberdeenshire West and Kincardine, had Conservative MPs as recently as 1997. So it is fertile territory. There are Conservative voters.
I don't know, it's only Scotland, they got to vote SNP. Yeah, with our London borough, I've lived in this borough all my life, London Borough of Havering, and when I was a child, it was a very English town. I've got to be honest. Everyone was English, you know, and it was you had the odd foreigner like on their holidays or visiting family, but it is like walking through Beirut when you go through town now. You got every single nationality. It's like a tourist hotspot, but they're not on holiday. They actually live in there. And the thing is, if you live in Greece, say, and your basic your wage monthly pay packet is what, €300, say, and you know full well in London you could earn £1,600, right? Where are you gonna want to live being a Greek? And it's England. So with us being part of the European Union and open borders, we are obliged to accept anyone from the European Union, any state, to come here, settle down and live. And that's a bit like America, you know, where if you live in Florida and you want to move to LA, you can do, and you can settle up there and move there and get a job overnight. Well, it's exactly the same with us and the European Union, but there's a big difference. It's putting us out of pocket, us Brits, because obviously they're going in at cheaper labour, which puts us Brits who can't afford to drop our wages to their level, because they're able to live. I spoke to a Polish friend of mine who lives in Enfield, not far from where I live. This is just before Brexit, and he said, I said, where do you live? Do you live with family? Has your wife come over? And she's gone, yeah, me and my wife have got into a house share, a 6-bedroom house, and there's 34 couples living in that house, and their rent is something ridiculous, like £10 a week. So they can afford to work for more or less nothing. Where me, if I'm renting a property, which would cost at where I live anything to rent a 1-bedroom apartment or flat. Apartment sounds more glamorous, that's why they say apartments more expensive. A 1-bedroom flat apartment where I live in this borough is anything from £1,000 to £1,600 a month. That's more than I earn, may I say. But the Europeans can live like that in a 6-bedroom house and pay £10 a week, like 32 or 34 of them, couples. I personally couldn't live like that, living here at home, you know. If I was working overseas for 6 months, yeah, I could live like that, but I couldn't live like that here permanently, which gives the Europeans who are living in Great Britain the opportunity to live like that for a year or two as a couple, saving every penny to get their own mortgage here in Great Britain, where it leaves people like myself, who is single and not on the best wage, more or less impossible to get on the property ladder and to find a well-paid job. So if you look at it like that, that isn't me being racist at all, you know, and some people out there might think I'm racist by saying that. I'm not. I'm just looking at the actual facts and what I see on a day-to-day basis. My nan's a Greek on my dad's side of the family. My mum's side of the family, my grandmother was white South African Boer, and my granddad was black French Mauritius. So yeah, my bloodline's built on immigration. But back when they moved to Great Britain, it wasn't for these reasons what are happening now. They moved because they couldn't live with each other in Africa, so they come to Britain to start a fresh life. And with my nan met my granddad at the end of the Second World War on one of the Greek islands, Samos, and they fell in love. And both couples from my mum and dad's side of the family fell in love, and they come here because they loved each other and settled down here in Britain. But now it is people don't move here for that reason, you know. It's turned into a massive European country, and London, if you're in central London for the day, say if I go up to London for the day, you'd expect it to be a bit foreign because it's a tourist attraction. You know, London's one of the best cities in the world. I'm not going to deny that. I think it's fantastic up London. But when it's on your doorstep, and you just go to Tesco's or Macros, you know, Morrison's, or in my case Aldi's, to go shopping, and you're the only English person in there, there's something wrong. You know, there's something drastically wrong, and you're trying to ask one of the cashiers how much something is, and she doesn't speak a word of English. There's definitely something wrong there, you know. And that's one of my biggest reasons for voting Brexit, was because of immigration. The immigration flux, what hit us over the last 10 years, it's just been insane. So for an I'm not knocking any Americans watching this stream. I'm just saying I had a debate with an American, and you're about 30 minutes out. Okay, Mike. Back. How far through the flight are we? We are here. We're over halfway. We're estimated to arrive in about 30 minutes, so exactly the same as Mike. So, yeah. We'll set up our. Let's quickly just zoom in here and see.
I'm just going past Toulouse.
Yeah. Okay, I think I'm going to go for 2-5 right on our approach.
Now I'm doing 3 ILS2.
Are you doing ILS2?
Well, that's what EFAS said when I set it up.
You get a little insight to EFAS here, guys. Oh yeah, okay. 222. You know you'll be going against the winds. The winds are 210 on the ground. And going on 02, you'll have a tailwind, mate. If you go on to edit flight plan, you can click on the landing runway. Go 25 right, we'll be closer to the terminal.
25 right.
Yeah, it'll give us the same, the Puma 3 Tango arrival as well. Just save that in. Zoom in here and then go.
Alright, yeah, I chose that star. Alright, let's change the runway here.
Puma. Is that 2 Alpha, I say? I don't remember what I put now. Oh, 3 Tango. So then it'll bring us down here. Then it will hook us around. Right, let's put this in. Let's just get rid of this for a moment while we get into the aircraft.
We got a very important result in from a very significant.
Oh, hang on.
Emily, Nuneaton was quite a moment last time round. You'll remember in 2015, it was the moment Ed Miliband knew the dream was over, when we start to see the emergence of the Conservative majority. That's why all eyes have been on it again. Labour target 54, so it would have been a very steep one for them to take. It's a Conservative hold Marcus Jones back in on a 52% share of the vote. This is what happened overnight. Again, we're looking at that UKIP vote. Quite substantially down here, and seems to be divided out between Conservatives and Labour, both up 6%. Tories have done just slightly better here than they were doing in Kettering, but it is a swing from Conservative to Labour of 0.2%. So very little movement here. Not much has happened to the majority. Overall, what are we understanding? A very mixed
1 second,
picture.
Mr.
Nuneaton,
Cax.
Kettering, similar parts of the world, different directions, but of course they're both Conservative holds, and we just have
I'll be complaining about the in-flight mail.
Seconds. This one, Charles Walker returned on a majority of nearly 16,000. UKIP was in second place last time round, and I can show you what that looks like in terms of what's happened there. Down 16%, and you can see how those gains from UKIP seem to be divvied out. Labour up by 10, Conservatives up by 6. Let's just have a look at the swing in a safe seat. It is Conservative to Labour of 2.2%. So some of these swings emerging are going from Conservative to Labour, some from Labour Conservative, but all pretty small. So the movement is hard to detect
Right.
in terms of a direction of travel for one party or another at this point.
Let's have a quick look at the chat quickly before we put the approach in. I'm about 30 minutes out, Mike. Kings of the Land. About halfway there, bud. Cheers, Jihad. By the way, the in-flight meal was awful. I shall be complaining. Not a problem. If you go to jet2.com and complain there, they'll very much appreciate that. Doesn't Jet2 have an A330 now on their fleet? They certainly do. I've got an A350, and the other day I managed to start it up for the first time and took it for a little free flight. The A350, and my God, what a beautiful looking aircraft. But I need to learn more about it before I bring that on stream. But as soon as I learn the basics, I'll start streaming the A350, which is, I've got to say, a very, very complicated plane. It's like real pilot's plane sort of thing, very fly-by-wire. Is Labour like Liberal in the US? I couldn't answer that. Mr. Bradley says yes. So it's for the longer paragraph. Where's your paragraph?
Here it seems at this early stage we're returning to the two tribes, but they're members.
As an American, I know Europe was becoming more. Oh, right, okay. I can't see your paragraph there, 7 pilot.
Just a word on the reaction.
Just on what Laura was saying about the generational divide. So Lily Allen, the singer and artist, has just sent a tweet.
Right, let's quickly. It should have sense. I can't. I'm just scrolling up there. 7 pilot. I can't see nothing.
They need to get their due. It's young people who feel that they've swung it for Corbyn. They've responded to his campaign.
I'll screenshot it. Okay, not a problem. Right, let's quickly get the. Oh, I keep zooming. I can just click on it. Right. Arrival. We're coming in on.
They feel that they might have pulled the rug from under Theresa May.
Following social media.
We're coming on 25 right. ILS approach.
Some people actually be on Twitter, David. No.
You know our whole program live.
5 right, and we're coming in on Palmer 3 Tango.
David, we have a chance to take stock now with 2 seasoned election watchers and political journalists.
Tango.
Conservative peer and Times journalist, Andrew Rawnsley, chief political commentator of The Observer. Patchy so far, but what does what we're seeing suggest to you at this point in the night, Andrew?
Well, one odd thing is suggesting to me...
What is going on here then?
Only a few results so far. Is that we might be...
Oh, it's 2-5 left, that's why I was twice.
The Remainers. I mean, during the campaign, a lot of people said that we thought Remain voters might be a
2-5 right, Yankee.
Conservatives cross with Theresa May for heading for a hard Brexit, but where are they? And the Lib Dems appear to be struggling. But funnily enough, I live next door to the Battersea seat, where the Treasury Minister Jane Ellison
All right.
is defending.
I like this, does it?
Hearing earlier from Laura has probably, or Laura was hearing, has probably lost that seat, and quite a large majority. And of course, Battersea is within Wandsworth, where 3 out of 4 people voted to remain. So I wonder whether that's going on.
There we go. There we go. 2-5 right Yankee on the Palmer 2 3 Tango arrival. Sometimes with this FMC you have to put the star in when you're doing your arrivals. Your star in, then your runway. It is a bit temperamental. I'm just going to have a little look now, see what...
Danny, from Liam Fox a moment ago, we heard the official line.
What?
What will they really be thinking, the party, the leadership?
Well, obviously Theresa May fought the election because she thought she could...
See if we got a transition here. I think we might have, you know.
And obviously that puts if the majority...
We've got 2 pages here.
Of course, the plan that she
SLL, we've got SLL.
what Laura said is correct.
No. CLE, which we have. So on a CLE transition. There we go. Right, let's just go to our legs page, go over to plan, and just watch that on the right hand side while we flick through.
Bigger swings to the Conservatives in the north, and then Labour doing better in the south.
If it ends up with a reduced majority or no majority, what does that mean for her position?
Well, I think the position of the entire party and
So it will be a straight in approach to the right. So take a right turn at Charlie Lima Echo.
I mean, you're a Conservative peer, so I can say it more bluntly. I mean, if it's a hung parliament, her authority is utterly shredded. She went to an...
I haven't really got any speeds there.
And threw away the majority she already
So
had.
it's...
That makes it actually, even if she could struggle on...
Ah, for God's sake, what have I done there?
Obviously, in that situation, the leader's authority is shredded, though it doesn't make it an easy solution as do you remove her or not.
5,000.
If Ken Clark was right earlier that actually
This is the
some sort of majority by the time that
5
morning, well, that's
Alpha.
better. At least you've got a majority. But it's not what
No,
Conservatives
5,000
to the country. And I think her problem's
Alpha.
that she fought such a presidential campaign.
This is the problem I had when I went to San Francisco. I did something. I put in the arrival, and it just buggered up everything, and it's frustrating to say the least.
fighting, and it was always a danger with that campaign. You would end up doing much better in those seats, but not actually winning them, and meanwhile losing some of your heartland seats.
The tone of the campaign, wasn't it? It was the mistake. I mean, particularly having
Right, so we'll be at 30,000, 31.
Yes, I mean, look, obviously that was a big moment in the campaign.
What's that, why is it saying 31,000 when we're only going up to 27, which we're at? That's what I mean. It's a bit. I like the 777-X plane. I've been flying it a lot lately. Veta, it's a beautiful aircraft. I love it. Let me just have a look at your thing there, 777 pilot.
Not just choose social care. This is more profound. If Jeremy Corbyn,
I think you might be right. I mean, many people were sceptical among turnout from the young, and we haven't had a lot of results yet. But there does seem to be some suggestion in them that young voters,
people from all sorts of background and.
largely, and maybe that's the revenge of the young as well. I mean, they felt a bit cheated by the 2015 general election result, many of them, and they felt even more cheated in the referendum of 2016, and that may well have motivated a lot of young voters to say, this time we are going to vote, make our voices heard.
But look at the bigger narrative. Don't just concentrate on one or two campaign points. Think about what Jeremy Corbyn may have achieved in increasing the seats and this realignment in the north and south.
We will be talking to you more through the night. Thank you both for now, Danny Finkelstein and Andrew Ronsley. David.
Sean Lay is in Leeds and has news of how the election is progressing there, Sean.
Yes, one of the biggest counts in the country taking place here. 8 constituencies, so after Birmingham this is the biggest council area in England. They go well out into the countryside, which is why this is a city which managed for 30 odd years to simultaneously elect both Dennis Healey from the Labour Party and Sir Keith Joseph, later Margaret Thatcher's guru, from the Conservatives. At the moment it's a 3-party city. I say at the moment because in Leeds North West, the university seat held by the Lib Dem Greg Mulholland, by the skin of his teeth really.
7 pilot, I'm not going to knock you for what you put there. That's totally understandable, but it may be the way I've been brought up. I'm just replying to what 7x7 pilot has put in as a screenshot in chat on Twitch. I'm not going to knock you for as a young student on the way you vote and the way of your opinion. At the end of the day, that's the love of this country, is that everyone has an opinion, and people can view their opinion. I love the fact that we've all got freedom of speech, you know. But yeah, because I'm a streamer doesn't give me a right of an opinion, you know. I've got to be honest. I love my country, but I also hate my country for what it's done to our way of life. And like you said, you're a student, so you haven't really gone out yet for a job. Like, I'm talking a full career, where I've had several, and to earn a good good wage, it doesn't matter from what I've experienced if you've got an education or not. It's who you know, not what you know. Sorry, bear with us. As far as what I reckon, the way I've known life, it's not exactly what you know in life, it's who you know. And it's a friend I left school with absolutely no education, you know. I thought they were unbelievable results, but then I realised they were all U's. Only joking. I got 4 A to C's. The rest were U's, which doesn't mean unbelievable. It means ungradable, because I didn't turn up. But a friend of mine, Jamie, he left school with 11 A stars on his GCSEs. He even got offered into Oxford, and because he was from Dagenham, he said, I won't blend in with all them snobs, so he rejected the offer, which was actually quite a shock. But you know, he left school with all them great. He went on to do A levels and O levels elsewhere, but he left all of that and pursued his career in the stock market. Had been made redundant 4 or 5 times now, from what I remember. He got a payout of nearly £20,000 on each. Yeah, he's got his mortgage now. He's got a house nearly paid off through being made redundant for these companies. But I've had great careers, probably longer lasting careers than Jamie, with not a good education. So, but the fact of the matter is, right now, that was then. Now, to have for you, for example, 7 Pilot, when you leave university, you're going to be probably riddled with university debt, which can lead for up to £40,000, which I gather, which is before you've even got your job. You're in a mortgage's worth of debt, which you have to pay off, and then you're going to have to try and get on the property ladder and find a very well-paid job to even attempt to get on a property ladder. But because of the influx of immigration in the United... Oh, hang on, we've got another one coming in.
MP for the Darlington Parliamentary Constituency do hereby declare and give notice that the total number of votes given to each candidate was as follows. Brack, Kevin John, UK Independence Party, 1,180. Chapman Jennifer, commonly known as Jenny Chapman, Labour Party, 22,681.
Wow.
Curry Anne-Marie, Liberal Democrat, 1,031. Cuthbertson Peter Malcolm, the Conservative Party, 19,401. Snedker Matthew Charles, Green Party candidate, 524. Therefore, I hereby give public notice that Jenny Chapman is duly elected as Member of Parliament for the Darlington constituency.
Bad for the Conservatives, that one. Labour hold the seat.
Well, and Darlington was a crucial seat for the Tories, trying to make inroads into the northeast. If they had a hope of a chunky majority, Darlington was going to be the first sign of the night that they were on course to get there. Jenny Chapman holding on is crucial, therefore, and that will be a disappointment for the Conservative Central Office. 2 other snippets reaching I think that they have gained.
Like he mentioned on the cheap rent, someone has to pay for it. Yeah, you're right there. If everyone is on cheap rent, then who will pay for it? There's no limits, or your country goes bankrupt. There's a difference, right? There's not being funny, right? Cadley, when you got companies like Uber who come over to the United Kingdom and they get people self-employed that pay VAT and taxes as a driver for Uber, They pay all the taxes, and then Uber themselves are now owing. They found a loophole in our VAT system where they owe the great British taxpayers, basically, because we're the ones balking them at the minute, £48 million, and that was on the news today. They're tax dodging by £48 million this year. No, it's not down to us who are going to make the country bankrupt. It's these big corporate companies which are making the country bankrupt. They're exploiting the system and finding loopholes. But not being funny, if I'm late on my council tax or if I don't pay my working tax, I get arrested. So sorry, there's limits. It is like, not being funny, to pay reasonable rent across the board would be more sufficient for the country because it attracts more. But to be honest, Austin kicked Uber out of Austin. Yeah, still, how are you doing, buddy? How are you doing on YouTube? There's big corporate companies out there which are tax dodging this country. Sorry, our government needs to hit them hard. Not being funny, I'm not saying how it is, I don't give a shit. If I've got to pay my taxes, they have to pay theirs, not bore it off to the working man. It don't matter if you've got an internet app company or a building construction company or a radio company or you sell cars. You pay your taxes as a company. Every company has to pay taxes. If you're tax dodging, then you should be found liable and incur fucking costly fines for tax dodging. So if you owe £48 million to the British government and the taxpayer, then I'm sorry, you need to be paying hefty fines on that, because that's not fair. That's not fair on us. We're the ones suffering because of it. Our cost of living goes up because they're not paying their way. You know, there's a bit of a scare here on the Labour, but you know, saying there's so many boroughs to go through, as you can see. There's not a lot of being filled in yet, is there? So, but as you can see, because Labour's up at the north there, Scotland's going to be SNP, and the south and probably the west will be Conservative. It's going to be a very split country. This once again, just like the Brexit. It's going to be a very divided country, but you know, saying I feel happy that we're divided because we've all got a choice. We've all got a choice. It's democracy at its finest. But the thing is, the government could say, "Well, we're taxing you." Then they could just jump ship on the UK. Yeah, but they'd have to pay their taxes before they leave. I'm sorry, you can't. The thing is, the people who, like for Uber, for example, I cannot stand the company. You know, I got an Uber cab once, and it was from a friend's house, which to pick up another friend, and we're going to go on from there. Well, we ended up getting off at mate Alan's house, which is 3 miles up the road. Well, it wasn't my Uber, because I don't have an account with Uber. It was my mate Pester's account. He got charged £57 to travel 3 miles because the cabbie didn't know where he was going, because he is from Eastern Europe, and that's what Uber is. It's an Eastern European enterprise, really. It's not really for the British man. You know what I mean? That's what black cabbies are for. You know, who do 5 years worth of knowledge, don't use a sat nav. You know, it's and that may sound really racist, but it is honestly the truth, because I see it day in, day out. I'll only say it how it is, you know, and some people may find it wrong the way I say things, but I'm I'm far from being racist. I'm just saying it how I see it, and it's this is a big old deal, this general election. You know, everyone's got their own reason to vote. Like everyone had their reason to vote in the American election, you know, and over here in Great Britain right now, this is a massive deal. I have said it doesn't really matter what the result is because it's the people's choice. But in reality, it really does. I would never use Uber. The people driving do not go through what a real taxi driver does. Yeah, mate, I make you right there. Not being funny, there's a lot of Uber drivers up in Luton that raped a few children, you know, and it's sorry that's not on, mate. Oh, I think we've got another one. What's this?
Alexander, of course, you were the election coordinator for.
No. You know, if you have just joined us, guys, we're flying from London Gatwick to Barcelona. We're just coming across the I think the French Alps there. Let's have a little zoom in. Yeah, the French-Italian Alps. Andorra, over Andorra there. We're not far. We're about 12 minutes out. Which will be coming to top of descent shortly, if not already. It's I keep doing this. Oh well, we're already on top of descent, so let's descend down now. Ugh. Lag. Getting a bit of lag here, so sorry about that. That's 3,000.
I'm more interested in what lies ahead for the Labour Party, and it looks like we are making gains, not just here against many people's expectations, but also right across England.
Are you going to see your old seat, which Mary Black took from you for the SNP?
Right.
Is that going to go back to Labour tonight?
My sense is it's too close to call, but it's just one of a number of seats across West.
Start our rate of descent.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have now started our descent. We now ask you to return to your seats and ensure that your seatbelts are securely
Just starting our
fastened.
descent now.
Your seat should be in the upright position with your armrest folded down. If you are sitting next to a window, we ask you to leave the window blind open. If you have had any bags out during the flight, please stow these in the overhead compartments or underneath the seat in front of you. Being careful not to block any aisles or exits with your bags. If you have had any electronic items on board the flight today, these need to be switched off and all headsets should be removed for landing. The toilets will be out of use in the cabin, and the cabin crew will be coming through the cabin to make a final check. Also, if you do have any rubbish that you would like to dispose of, the cabin crew will take this from you as they pass through the cabin. Thank you.
That's a cool view, isn't it? Lorette de Mar on map. Well, I don't know what you mean by that.
And there is no doubt that Jeremy Corbyn has campaigned with spirit and with a sense of authenticity that was wholly lacking from the Conservative campaign. If you like, the contrast suited Labour, Jeremy arguing for a politics that clearly believes in, and on the other hand,
Right, Lorette de Mar on down here, yeah.
answer the most basic and straightforward questions when she was asked. So I think in that sense, this particular context has emphasised not just a fundamentally different vision of the country, but also a different way of doing politics. And of course, like in every election, there are going to be lessons to be learned.
Douglas Alexander, thank you very much for joining us. Quick comment.
And what that
I got
even at this point in the evening, we've had so few results. One thing we can say for sure is that Jeremy Corbyn is safe as leader of the Labour Party so long as he wants to be. He's had a great campaign, and when people like Douglas Alexander are giving the benefit of the doubt, he's safe.
We've had 15 results in. It's just after 1 o'clock, so time for us to have a bulletin of the news. Let's just see the
That was better.
new broadcasting house, the old
357,
broadcasting
and it
house
was
on
wings
the left,
level.
the new one curling round there. On
What is good, yeah?
And it's still just
Yeah, I was pleased with that.
Brilliant. What was the ILS altitude?
We will start to
I
show
put it at
when we get more than
2,500
15
feet.
results in.
And it caught it, yeah?
So let's now
Yeah.
have
Brilliant.
the latest news. Here's Rita Chakrabarti.
Hello, the first results have been declared in the general election. Labour has held the party's safe seats of Newcastle Central, Houghton and Sunderland South and Sunderland Central. But the Conservatives took more votes in all three constituencies than at the 2015 election. An exit poll for the BBC, ITV and Sky has predicted the Tories will be the biggest party, but that they won't win a Commons majority. It says they'll have lost 17 seats, while Labour will have made gains. The poll also predicts losses for the Scottish National Party. Tom Bateman has the very latest.
The night began with a big projection, the exit poll, studied closely by all the politicians, but remember, it's still just a forecast. It has the Conservatives as the largest party, but short of an overall majority. The poll suggests the Tories would have 314 seats, down 17 on 2 years ago. It puts Labour on 266 seats, up 34. The SNP would get 34 seats and the Lib Dems 14.
This is a projection. I think you made that clear. It's not a result. These exit polls have been wrong in the past. I think in 2015 they underestimated our vote. I think in a couple of elections before that they overestimated our votes.
Theresa May promised us on 7 different occasions that she wouldn't go for a snap general election, and she went for it. And she went for it on the basis of wanting to secure a mandate that she already had, and people just saw through that.
It's the real votes that count, though, and there's the traditional race to see which constituency could declare first.
For the Darlington constituency,
Labour have just held Darlington. There was a marginal swing to the Tories, but nowhere near the kind of success they would have needed in the north of England for any kind of landslide.
Therefore, declare.
But 2 other seats won by Labour in North East England show the Tories have done better than the exit poll might have suggested. The Festival of Democracy has been on full show. Watch out for some upsets through the night. At least one minister's seat could be in question, and UKIP's vote appears to be collapsing in places.
Good evening, Mr. Corbyn. How are you feeling?
Jeremy Corbyn arrived home in his North London constituency tonight. If the exit poll is correct, a big if, he will have confounded the expectations of even his own MPs, while Theresa May's gamble to win big in a snap election will have failed. But the night is young, and the truth inside those ballot boxes is yet to be revealed. Tom Bateman, BBC News.
Well, with the news of that exit poll, the pound has been falling against other currencies, including the dollar and the euro. Well, let's get reaction now from Sharanjit Lail, who's in Singapore for us. Sharanjit, what's going on?
This is nuts.
Well, that's right. As you say, the immediate reaction in the markets has been from the British pound. Sterling falling nearly 2% against the US dollar after that exit poll suggested Conservative Party could lose its parliamentary majority. But it's since scaled back some of those losses. That's as the first results came in and show that the Conservatives may be doing slightly better than that exit poll suggested. So actually the pound is down about just over 1.5% against the US dollar and most of the other major currencies at the moment. Though analysts have been saying that it's likely the pound will continue falling as Asian markets open. Hung Parliament, of course, is the worst-case scenario for the pound, given the political uncertainty it brings, because it could complicate Brexit talks further, something, of course, markets and investors don't like, though I should add Asian markets have just opened in the last few minutes and they are higher at the moment, only just.
Sharanjit, thank you. In other news now, the former director of the FBI, James Comey, has told a Senate committee he felt he'd been ordered by Donald Trump to drop an inquiry into links between the president's former national security advisor and Russia. We'll have more for you throughout the night, but now back to David.
It's interesting how this election is proving very exciting. We've had, though, 15 declarations and no change of control of any of the 15 seats. But nevertheless, what's happening under that is proving quite riveting in terms of Labour's advance, the Conservatives' retreat in some places, advances in the others. Anyway, we're about to get Swindon South. Let's go over to Swindon South. Laura, I was going to come to you, but let's just see Swindon South.
The result of the poll for the election of a Member of Parliament for South Swindon. I, Stephen Peter Taylor, being the acting returning officer at this election, do hereby give notice that the number of votes recorded for each candidate at this election is as follows. Robert James Buckland, the Conservative Party candidate, 24,809. Sarah Church, Labour and Cooperative Party, 22,346.
Yeah.
UK Independent Party, 1,291. Tallis Kimberley Fairburn, the Green Party, 747. And Stanley James Pajak, Liberal Democrat, 2,079, and there were 87 ballot papers rejected. And I do hereby declare that Robert James Buckland is duly elected as a Member of Parliament for South Swindon.
GT7, you take care, buddy. Have a great evening, mate.
This is the kind of thing that will make CCHQ nerves, which will be jangling extremely loudly at the moment.
Well, it's 1:10. And I've still got work in the morning. Oh, another one.
Conservative Party, 15,321. Clyde. Plaid Geidwadol Cymru, 15,321. Harper Carey, the Party of Wales, 1,753. Plaid. Plaid Cymru, 1,753. Lucas Ian Collin, Welsh Labour, 17,153. Llafur Cymru, 17,153. O'Toole Carol Georgina Tetley, Welsh Liberal Democrats, 865. Democratiaid Rhyddfrydol Cymru, 865.
Well, there we are. We have the result there. Labour hold Wrexham. The Conservatives were hoping
They
to
were,
take Wrexham.
And it's a part of the country to really. They went there several times during the campaign.
Just to let you guys know, that language was Welsh. Welsh have their own language, they always have, but they use English as an all-rounder. But their children still learn Welsh in school. Just thought I'd give you that heads up there.
Rutherglen in Scotland.
I remember going up into the mountains to a Bradley testing party.
Wales and Scotland, Labour.
Then headed to a big restaurant and nice bit of chicken.
There were 5,000
I love
UKIP
chicken.
votes, last time round 2 years ago.
Bring our flaps out.
Again, it comes down to what John Curtis and Carol were discussing before. Where does
10,000
the
feet.
split? Now, the expectation
I'll
at the
upload
beginning of this
7,000.
campaign, what the local election results suggested, was that UKIP vote would go primarily and potentially quite dramatically to the Tories. From the actual results that we're seeing tonight, that is not happening. And it may well be that the Tories made a strategic mistake by assuming that UKIP voters were basically Tories in disguise, who'd been a bit more grumpy than everybody else about Europe over the years. But actually, many UKIP voters, of course, were former Labour voters, and that may be part of the problem here with the design of their campaign.
Llanelli, Emily.
This is Nia Griffith's seat, the Shadow Defence Secretary. It's been held by Labour. It was a Plaid Cymru target, but you can see how well they've done here. They started off with a majority of 7,095, and they've just returned Nia Griffith on a majority of 12,000. 53% share of the vote for Labour, and I can show you what that looks like in terms of the gains. Labour up 12%, the Conservatives also making gains, we assume at the expense of UKIP, and also Plaid down here. And that swing then, if I can just show you, very much towards Labour, 1.4%. It's not huge. Conservatives would have needed a swing of, what, 9% to take this seat, but it establishes Labour quite firmly again in this seat in Wales.
So how important is Wales going to be, John?
Well, I mean, we had limited number of sampling points in the exit poll in Wales, but such as we had suggested that maybe the Conservatives would do rather better in Wales.
There's a fucking major lag here.
First two results don't
Right, we need terrain on.
We've got virtually no swing in
right.
Wrexham. We've actually got a small swing to Labour in Llanelli. So it looks as though the Conservatives aren't going to get particular solace in the Principality in the way that perhaps we might have anticipated.
Ah, that's one thing I've just noticed. We ain't got terrain radar.
Oh, we've got another one coming.
An extraordinary one. Laura was saying a little earlier on.
Sorry, John.
Heard that the Labour Party had taken seats from the SNP in Scotland. I don't know whether this is a shoring up.
Ah, nice one, King.
Vote that we were talking about earlier, but Ged Killen takes it for Labour then from the SNP. You can see how incredibly tight that is, 38% to 37%. That's why it wasn't coming up in a list of things we could easily predict because it was on a knife edge. But if I show you the change, and you can see now the drop very clearly of 16% for the SNP. Conservatives making gains here at the expense of the SNP, but that puts Labour, who is in second place, in pole position there to take it. They've also had a slight rise, and that swing then towards Labour of 8.9%. That's huge. Now, not huge when we compare it to some of those extraordinary swings we saw in Scotland towards the SNP 2 years ago, but those were unprecedented.
That hotel,
this is something that Labour will be
that was
getting the
across
bunting
the
out for.
street from the Bullring. What?
Well, here, of course, is the
It was
first
quite interesting. I walked through town to the pedal. Nice. I haven't been to this part of
you remember right at the beginning of the night, this was something about
Spain.
which we were really certain. Well, here's a
What
piece
is
of
it
hard
for?
evidence
Yeah.
that the SNP
I haven't been to this part of Spain. I've been down to Fingarola, which is
Let's join Michelle, who's got two guests who can
right
comment on
down
both these things.
here somewhere.
Indeed. David, with me are Hamza Yusuf of the SNP and Peter Hain, Lord Hain, who served for Labour under both Gordon Brown and Tony Blair. Hamza Yusuf, let's talk first about the picture that is painted by the exit poll in Scotland, and also we've had the first Scottish result in. It's not looking like a good night for the SNP, far from it.
Let's try to put this in some context. I have to start with the all caveats that all your guests have in terms of the exit poll and whether it's correct or not correct, the early days.
Yeah, Fingarola. Oh, there it is.
But what I would say is to put this in some sort of context.
I've been there.
What's been missing is that if the exit poll is correct, and I think that's a big if I have
There's a
to say,
Lineker's bar on the beach round there.
Correct, then 34
Lovely
seats, of course,
beaches.
would still mean that the SNP wins the election, wins the majority of seats, and that's after being 10 years in government. So I don't think anybody expected the SNP to reach that high watermark.
It's only 2 years, isn't it, since the 2015 election and all those seats that you took, nearly all the Scottish seats. Well, what is your own party data suggesting about how many you are likely to lose?
Well, like you say,
You got to see the Rotten Tomato Festival. No, I'm alright. I bet that stinks.
Anybody expected that?
I bet it's good laugh though.
I think there's going to be a difficult night for some.
Alright, we're going to gamble starting our descent again.
Lose colleagues. I think there's a number of factors that will have to be looked at. It's too tight to call in a number of races here, but it seems very clear that where there is, where in previous elections the unionist vote, the anti-independence vote has split between three parties, it seems perhaps it's coalescing around the candidate that's most likely to defeat the SNP. But it is early days, and as I say, I'm not quite convinced that 34 is as low as we'll go. I think we'll go higher than that, actually, when it comes to the actual result.
Peter Hain, you're a former Welsh secretary, and we've now had those 2 results in from Wales, seats that the Conservatives were really hoping to get.
Yes, Theresa May put enormous effort into seats like Wrexham. We haven't heard Bridgend yet, but she went there. I think we'll hold Bridgend well. I think we're going to have a very good night in Wales. I hear we're going to take Gower back from the Conservatives. I hear also that we're going to take the Vale of Clwyd with its excellent former Labour MP Chris Rain back from the Conservatives. So it's looking like Welsh Labour is doing very well. Overall, I think this is a positive result for Jeremy Corbyn. I didn't support him for the leadership, but he's harnessed an enormous protest movement about what's going on in this country.
Is it that he's harnessed the youth vote, or more than that?
He's harnessed the youth vote, but I think also people are really angry about what's happening to the health service, what's happening to elderly provision, the lack of housing, the student debt. the fact that the economy is just more and more austerity when it's totally unnecessary. We're a richer society than we've ever been in our history, and we can't provide houses for people and secure jobs. I think there's a popular revolt against that, and I think it's part of a wider... that.
Captain Do, how you doing, buddy?
Now, I don't think people saw him as a prime minister, but they did see him as somebody speaking for their values against a political class that had not been listening to them for a long time.
Hamza Yusuf, when Emily Thornberry was speaking earlier, she was saying very clearly that
I'll make him right there, what
Labour
he
is
said.
now going to look to form a government, and that it will be looking to other parties for support of one kind or another, because otherwise they would be letting the Tories back in.
First Minister Nicola Sturgeon has said that we would talk to Labour in terms of a progressive alliance along with Plaid Cymru, along with the Green Party. It wouldn't be a formal coalition, but could we look at seeing on an issue by issue whether we could support a Labour minority government, for example? And we would do that because we want to keep the Tories out. I think adding to what Peter has said, I'm not taking away from Jeremy Corbyn's campaigning skills or otherwise, but we have to accept that Theresa May has run probably the worst campaign that any of us have seen from a Prime Minister in modern British political
And
history.
you could feel a reaction against that on the ground. People didn't like the idea of an arrogant, evasive Tory Prime Minister wanting a landslide, and I think there was a kickback against that. But the issue for Labour now going forward is, are we yet seen as a party of power? Do we have a leader who could be seen stepping into number 10? And do we have a party that is trusted by people in the centre ground?
And you don't sound like you're sure.
Well, I'm just listening to the
make a point
votes.
onto that,
In
'cause I think-
Nuneaton, for example, that's the sort of seat we need to take to be in government. Having said that, Jeremy Corbyn deserves an enormous amount of credit for harnessing this great surge of young people, and not just of young people, but a lot of people who haven't voted Labour out of much enthusiasm, but have been voting against the Tories. Now people are saying, actually, we like his policies. We may not see him as a Prime Minister, but we really like a lot of these policies.
Just to add to that, because I wouldn't take away from it, that many of the policies that were in Labour's
That's
manifesto,
right.
for example, are being implemented north of the border, such as abolition of tuition fees. And I think here there's a question for many people in England and the political class. There was the idea that you had to be centre or centre-right to win an election. Clearly, you could present a manifesto on the left, as we have done in Scotland for over 10 years, and be successful, but it sounds like people in England and the political class are waking up to that fact.
Do you think the prospect of a second independence referendum rattled some of the people who would have otherwise supported you?
Well, the point is that if we win the election, according to your exit poll of 34 seats, then the party that wins the election generally gets the mandate. So we would have a mandate, of course, not just to ensure that a hard Brexit is imposed upon Scotland, but that no UK government would block the second independence referendum.
Oh, fuck it, now we're going the wrong way.
The SNP, Pete Hayne, I'm
What
sorry
a
to
twat.
stop you, but...
is now up for grabs in terms of its battle in Parliament. I think it's going to be very difficult for Theresa May to get a hard right Brexit that she was wanting.
Peter Hayne, thank you. David.
Thanks very much. Now, we said earlier on that Amber Rudd, the Home Secretary, was in some difficulty or seemed to be in Hastings. This is what she said, it's just her words, when she arrived at her count a moment ago.
How do you think it's going?
John, I'm not going to engage much until we're a little clearer where it is at the moment. So I'm just quietly waiting and we keep an eye on everybody and everything in the normal way.
Confident, are you?
John, I'm just hopeful but not complacent. Thank you.
Well, that doesn't get you very far, but anyway.
It does. Her words don't, but the look on her
The
face,
look on
I
her
suggest,
face
rather
does,
did.
yes.
I know they're very worried about it, even if we don't have the final result
But you've
yet.
got news on other seats.
I
haven't
do.
you?
Some more straws in the wind. Ian Murray, who until tonight was the Labour Party's only Scottish MP for Edinburgh South, apparently has achieved an enormous increase.
That's
in
coming
his
down
vote,
10%.
well over 10,000. But even better news for Labour from that. I understand that they have taken Pudsey in Yorkshire from the Tory MP Stuart Andrew. I understand that they're also expecting to beat Anna Soubry, the former minister, who of course was a very prominent
There's some
Remainer.
very
She's held the
low
seat of
clouds
Broxton.
down there.
And the biggest scalp so far that Labour are ready to say they believe they've taken, according to sources, is beating Nick Clegg in Sheffield Hallam. We touched on it briefly earlier, but it appears that the Labour Party's effort there have won out. So perhaps the Sheffield Hallam students are still around after all.
And to clarify this, you said Anna Soubry.
Anna Soubry expecting to
1,000 feet to go.
that Labour has taken Broxton. Not officially confirmed, but Labour believes they've taken it.
And one of the other interesting constituencies was Richmond Park, Richmond in Surrey, on the
Mike.
Thames. where
I bet Corbyn's going, oh fuck.
Well, he stood as Mayor of London and was defeated. He then
It's not
resigned
over
over
yet,
the issue
far
of
from
it. Far
Third
from it.
Runway and London Airport. And Samira,
Yeah, I'm doing the Friday night mix tomorrow,
Samira,
buddy.
stay with us for a moment and let's just hear this result from Tooting. We'll be back with you in a second.
Tooting. Hang on one sec.
Are we all here? No? Which the one more to come? Good evening. The declaration of the result of the poll for the parliamentary election in the London Borough of Wandsworth Tooting constituency held on the Thursday the 8th of June 2017. I, James Madden, being the returning officer for the Tooting constituency, hereby give notice that the total number of votes given for each candidate at the election is as follows. Rosina Chantel Alim Khan, Labour Party, 34,000.
What the fuck?
$34,694. Ryan Coshall, UK Independence Party, 339. Alexander James Glassbrook, Liberal Democrats, 3,057. Esther Obiri Darko, Green Party, 845.
These are individual people's votes, by the way.
2,500. Daniel Richard Watkins, the Conservative Party candidate, 19,200.
Wow, that's a big win for Wanstead.
So Labour holds it with a big increase in their majority. The Conservative vote, well done. This is the seat that Sadiq Khan used to sit in, and he became the Mayor of London, and Rosina Alan Khan took the seat at the by-election for Labour. But the overall picture is a majority of 15,458. That's up 12,000 majority.
Very interesting. This is exactly the kind of seat that just a fortnight or 3 weeks ago, the Labour Party was extremely
147
knots,
I'll slow it down now.
Earlier on in the campaign. It's an area that's been changing demographically. On paper, it looked like it should be tending to more towards the Conservatives.
The old gentrification.
Indeed, but she's a very talented campaigner, somebody very well regarded as the younger generation of Labour MPs coming up, and a thumping win for her there.
Also the London effect.
Indeed.
We've been talking all night about the division in the south, moving quite sharply towards Labour, and the north going a little bit more Tory. But of course there are a lot of very, very important seats in the south that Labour hasn't really been thinking about hard for a long time, and they're now picking up one after another.
Let's hear from Samira Ahmed. I'm sorry I didn't go to you before, Samira, on Richmond Park. Zach Goldsmith was saying is trying to take the seat back from the Liberal Democrats, who took it at the by-election that he forced when he was against Heathrow. What's happening?
Well, it's really interesting what's happening here. Turnout is a big, big factor. So Richmond Park, which, as you say, in the by-election was an amazing win for the Lib Dems, who took it in the kind of post-EU referendum, a rebellion of the 48%. The turnout then was 53%.
No problem, Captain Joe. Sorry, I'm just watching this while coming into land. This debate.
Talking to people is, I think Zach Goldsmith is thinking that he could win this seat back. But the other seat being counted here at Twickenham Stadium is, of course, Twickenham, which is the Vince Cable seat that he lost in a big shock in 2015. The turnout's gone up a little here too, to just under 80%, 79.7%, and we really pick up a strong sense here that they're quietly confident that Vince Cable could win this back. What Lib Dems seem to be hearing on the street is that it was a protest vote element in 2015, an element of some people staying away. People are turning out to vote now because they think it matters, although Brexit may not be the issue that the Lib Dems thought it was 6 months ago. It's more of a general picture about anti-hard Brexit, protect the NHS. But certainly 2 seats could be changing. Vince Cable could be on course to win back Twickenham, and Zach Goldsmith, now a Conservative again, having stood as an independent in that by-election.
Cody, how you doing? Some big love to the
Buku. To take back the seat from the Lib Dems, who claimed it as such a triumph only 6 months ago.
And Bermondsey and Old Southwark, Geeta Gurumurti is there. That was a seat that Simon Hughes held, or used to hold, for the Liberal Democrats, and no doubt because it was very much a Remain constituency would have been arguing that the Liberal Democrat offer of a second referendum would be appealing. But what's the news?
Well, it does look as though Labour have held this seat, possibly with an increased majority. Some reports even that the majority might have doubled for Neil Coyle of Labour. Now, he has been a prominent critic of Jeremy Corbyn. It'll be very interesting to see what Neil Coyle and others in the moderate part of the Labour Party now do.
Can we ever do an election in the United States?
A minority Labour government. Of course, it's very early days still. But Simon Hughes had fought this.
Oh, I think you do need one over there, guys.
His team
What the hell did you guys vote for?
They think it's possibly not gone their
That's
way.
chaotic.
They think it's part of a national swing.
Well, we're going to get some speed brakes on now.
They say that there's been a 25%
Yeah,
churn
been
in
about
this seat
3.
of people who
Don't want to
perhaps
burn out the brakes on
recognise or
Max.
remember Simon Hughes' record. He was here for 32 years as an MP until 2015.
Oh, right.
I was here just 2 years ago. There was a very big change, a very big shock, of course, when he lost that seat. Neil Coyle defending a 4,500 majority, and it looks as though Labour has been successful. They say they've had about 1,000 volunteers on the streets, and Neil Coyle has in fact just entered the hall here. I should just say also that in this hall just a few hours ago the book of condolences was placed. Theresa May, Sadiq Khan had both signed that for the London Bridge attack. So a very emotional week here.
Paisley and Renfrewshire South. We were talking about it a moment ago. Mary Black holds it for the SNP, or held it for the SNP at dissolution, and here's the result.
Alright, start down to minimums now. 147.
Scottish Liberal Democrats, 1,327. And Amy Louise Thompson, Scottish Conservative and Unionist, 8,122. And the total number of votes is 41,771. Therefore, I declare that Mary Black is duly elected as a Member of Parliament for Paisley and Renfrewshire South constituency. Thank you.
When elected, she was the youngest MP, it was said, since the Great Reform Act. And she was kept by the Labour Party rather under wraps. Wasn't allowed to go out and SNP rather, wasn't allowed to go out and speak very much on television and radio, because I think they thought she was too inexperienced. But she's done well there. Previous majority of 5,684. Tom Watson's constituency, the deputy leader of the Labour Party.
For the West Bromwich East constituency.
He's held on it, and let's hear what he has to say about Labour's results so far. We've got 34 results in, just to remind you.
I'm very proud to have been re-elected as the MP for West Bromwich East, and I'm deeply grateful to those people who have voted for me. I promise that I will do my best to repay the trust you've placed in me, and I'll continue to work for all people in our community. And my congratulations and my respect to all of my opponents in this election. You've all fought a very good campaign, a fair campaign in the right spirit. Thank you for putting yourselves forward, and my very best wishes to you all for the future. We still don't know the final result of this election. It is too early to say, but it looks like
lights of... Oh, he's back.
Oh, he's been cut off in his prime. This is awkward, though.
He's back, but now he's silent, so we shan't be able to hear what he says.
But this is a huge...
We'll catch up with it, but let's join Michelle, and we'll try and find out the important thing that Tom was going to be saying about the Labour Party.
Happily, we can pick up with Shami Chakrabarti, Shadow Attorney General.
Thank you. I'm happy to fill in for Tom Watson on this occasion.
What was he going to say? What does this mean?
He was going to say this has been a victory for hope over fear.
It isn't him. What's that? Can we have a new election? Yeah. Oh, right, yeah. Yeah, it's what the hell's going on with Trump and the FBI, man? Like, I'm sure they need to investigate him. He's got some dodgy shit happening, doesn't he? That Trump, mate. I thought we had it bad here in Britain. My God. Well, we're on our descent on the glide now to London Heathrow into Barcelona.
Jeremy Corbyn ran a fantastic, positive campaign. I think
There we go, starting to see some land.
You know, Michelle, from years of us talking, that I was a cross-party human rights campaigner for many years, and like so many people, like hundreds of thousands of people in Britain, I joined Jeremy Corbyn's Labour Party because of his message of hope over fear and cynicism. And goodness me, it seems to have taken.
But the question now is what he does with the result that it is looking like is going to be delivered.
Let's see.
Let's see. So on the basis of the exit poll and the results we're seeing so far, Theresa May is not going to get what she hoped for. Now, are there already calls being made, feelers put out to parties that Labour would hope to support a Queen's speech that it would put forward?
I'm sitting here with you, so
1,000.
what calls are being made.
1,000 feet.
You know, making those calls because I'm sitting with you. But,
It's a really low cloud here.
What a positive signal, and I think that there are a lot of people who will be sitting up at home tonight thinking hope triumphs over fear. A campaign that was about policy and not about being nasty to politicians of the other side.
Is it Labour's hope to form a minority government?
It is Labour's hope to form a
My
government.
God,
It
this.
is always Labour's hope to form
Approaching
a government. And a few weeks
2-5,
ago,
right.
we were, the whole point of this snap election that wasn't supposed to happen, the whole point of this snap election was that Theresa May, who was never, let's be clear, like me, she wasn't elected to be leader of her party. She wasn't elected to be prime minister. This was going to be the moment
500.
for her resounding
Which is
mandate.
rather different. You've just said obviously you were new to politics, and
Yeah.
she was a
But-
long-serving cabinet minister.
No, but what I'm
elected
saying is,
MP
look,
for
let's
many
be
years.
clear. I'm not an elected politician. I'm
400.
an advisor, but I am like millions of people in this country who want something positive, who wants to get rid of poverty and tuition
As a
fees
key
and so
member
on.
of Joe
300.
team, I'm keen
There
to
we
get
go.
a sense from you of how a future, whether it is
Oh, shit.
a future government or minority government for Labour
200.
would work, because we are at a point where Brexit negotiations are going to start
Oh, I've
one
got
way or
control.
another within days. Can you imagine that a government led by Labour on the
100.
basis
100.
of a result that mirrors this exit poll could
50.
could negotiate
40.
with you from a position of strength?
30.
I
20.
that
10.
politics has changed. Whatever happens tonight, politics in this country has
Nice.
changed. And Jeremy's whole style of politics, and the whole style of politics that's confounded every one of your panellists down there, everybody that's sat here with you before, the whole style has changed. It's more consensual, it's more about policy and issues, and not a tribal thing almost.
Ladies and gents, welcome to Barcelona.
Hope springs eternal at this moment.
Have no idea where we're
Send
taking
my
this into.
solidarity to everybody at home who's sitting up wanting a country for the many and not the few, and in particular,
Ladies and
the
gentlemen, we have
victims
arrived
and
at our
their families.
destination. It will take us a couple of minutes to
terrorist
arrive at the stand, so please do remain seated with your seatbelt securely fastened until the
Right,
aircraft has come to a complete stop
mate, and
and the
I'm
captain
out of
has
here
turned
now.
off the fasten seatbelt sign.
Roger
Please
that,
take a
mate.
moment to
Oi,
check around
thanks for
your
starting
seat
up.
and your
I'll catch
seat
you
pockets
tomorrow
to ensure
night,
you
yeah?
haven't left anything behind.
Yeah, we'll do, mate.
In particular,
Good
your
night,
mobile
all.
phone,
Good night,
passport
mate.
and wallet.
Cheers, buddy.
On
Sweet
behalf
dreams.
of the captain and crew, it has been a pleasure having you on board today, and hope you have enjoyed your flight with Jet2.com.
User
Thank you.
disconnected from your channel.
Oh, well, ladies and gents, welcome to Barcelona. I think we're in the right place, so yeah. Let's just stop here a second. Flaps off. We'll bring our flaps up. Alright. Speed brakes back. Let's taxi. Smart Cars is saying we touched down. Oh. What's that? Trying to find it. We exceeded 250 below 10,000. I can live with that. Final approach 153 knots. Touchdown at minus 200 FPM. Gear lever down. Pitch 6. Roll 1 degrees left. 145 knots. Oh, yeah, not bad. Ah, right. Where's this dick going? Oh, okay, just checking he won't go. I thought he was coming down here. Welcome to Barcelona, where the airport here is huge. He comes out and I'm going in. I haven't downloaded Barcelona, so this is default. Isn't all that bad, to be honest. It's not bad at all. Ooh. I have no idea where to park. It's a massive plane, but fuck! I just missed that. Yes, sorry. I'll do a little cheat here. Reverse back. I can. Doing a cheeky reverse there, guys. Oh, popping a wheelie. We'll be able to tuck in. This is stand 217, so. There we go. Lovely aircraft. That's us. She is a huge aircraft. So we're going to be taking this jet but more or less around the world over the weekend. We're going to take it from London Gatwick on Saturday morning and head to Dubai, which will be a 6-hour flight, weather permitting, if not up to 7 hours. And then we'll be flying from Dubai, I think, to San Francisco. So we've got a choice between on the morning, flying from, when we get to Dubai, we'll decide, all of us, where we fly to. We'll put a vote up on the stream. If we fly to Dubai, from Dubai to San Francisco, or to Phoenix, or to Vancouver. So it'll be your choice on Saturday morning, or it'll be Saturday afternoon when we land in Dubai. We'll do a through the night flight to Jack says San Fran. I'm feeding San Fran as well. Sam Fan, I can do ground there. Oh, okay, that sounds interesting. Well, we're going to put it to a vote anyway on the day, but before we go, let's just disconnect here from our... Oh, actually, did that guy take off? Oh, no. Ah, well, it's... we got to watch us come in. We've got to see how cool that looks. So, blah blah, the replay. Watch our laggy approaching. This is us. King of the Land. Lane, you take care, buddy. Hopefully we'll see you looking on RichieDofficial.com for the Friday night mix tomorrow night. That'd be brilliant. If not, we'll take care of yourself and we'll see you next time.
$1,000.
Forever within the Labour Party. We can't, of course, forget what this means for the Tories. Ben De Pere is the editor of the Channel 4 News.
Jihad, you take care. Good night,
wonder whether
mate.
or not choosing the Evening Standard
500
over the UK Parliament feels
400
best choice right now.
300
which is a mischievous
200
I should also tell you, David, that the odds
100 50 30 20 10 20 30 50 100.
One set of bookies has his odds falling from 66 to 1 to 5 to 1. So lots of
This is
speculation
us coming
about where
in.
the Tory party's going to.
100.
A bit laggy.
An extraordinary result. Justin Greening in Putney, southwest London. It doesn't look it. She's held on to her seat. She's the Education Secretary, of
50,
course. But this
40,
is what I want to draw
40,
your
30,
eye towards. The
30,
very close
20,
share
20,
of the vote
10,
between Conservatives and
10.
Labour. She sat on a 10,000 majority in this seat. She's now sitting
Right,
on
that's fucking lovely
1,500.
landed.
And if I show you what that looks like in terms of a swing, it's a 10% swing from the Conservatives towards
10,
Labour.
20,
Now,
30,
since
40,
Putney,
50,
a government minister,
100.
It's always going to be a tough call for Labour to take this, but they'll start to look at other
200.
seats in London, the closer
200.
ones, and think maybe they have got a chance if this is a London-wide phenomenon that they're seeing. One other one I just want to bring you, which is Clwyd South. You had Vale of Clwyd a second ago. Now,
100.
Clwyd South originally showed up in some of
200.
our forecasts
300.
as being take for the Conservatives.
300.
Labour has held on to it. It's right next door to Vale of Clwyd, of course. Labour on 51% share of the vote, the Conservatives 39.
200.
And a
200.
swing this time also from the Conservatives to Labour, 2.4% swing. So it does seem as if Labour is establishing a bit more of a ground base in
100.
Wales.
100.
Starting to make these quite impressive inroads in London, even if they're not
50,
actually
50,
changing
40,
the colour of
40,
their seats
30,
yet.
30,
Tim Farron
20,
was caught
10.
a moment ago leaving his house to go to his count at Westmoor,
We'll watch that back.
Lonsdale, and was questioned as he came out of the house. It's here.
And they're generally not spot on.
It will go tonight.
Well, too early to say, isn't it?
Are you worried about Nick Clegg's seat? Yeah, any reaction to Nick Clegg possibly losing his seat?
All of that we don't know. So we're looking forward to the rest of the evening. All the best. Take care.
It was a fairly non-committal comment.
Although we have been hearing that his own
20,
seat
40, 50,
is in jeopardy.
100.
It will definitely go, but that he is not
200.
candidate and he may lose out.
300.
Also, just in the last few minutes,
Well,
I've heard that
300
Labour are
feet will
expected
watch
to
us
hold
come in now.
Hartlepool, where the Tories had put on a very strong
300.
challenge, part of Theresa May trying to push again into the northeast. Labour also expect to take Hendon, again another London seat.
200.
They also expect to take Stockton South, a Tory seat that would be, if it comes true, taking another seat from yet another government minister. I do think it is just worth saying, though, there are parts of the country where we
100.
haven't heard anything from. The east of England, many of the Midlands marginals. We saw Tom
50,
Watson there.
50,
but there are
40,
big
40,
chunks
30,
of the country
30,
where we're yet
20,
to get any info.
20,
So
10,
Labour at the moment, I'm getting
10.
messages from people saying this is astonishing, we could be the largest party, but it is still early days. It's still, might not feel like it already, but the
That was a
night is
lovely
still young,
landing,
apparently.
actually.
The night feels very young. We're going to hear from Tom Watson, who you heard of
Epic Nobody, how are you?
from a moment ago. But first,
Jack
no
Murphy,
election
thanks for
completely
the
about the swingometer. We haven't
ATC
seen
over
the
at Gatwick,
swingometer
buddy.
yet, so where is the
We'll
swingometer?
catch you if you're locked
Jeremy.
into the Friday Night Mix tomorrow night at RichieDGaming.com.
Here into the Elizabeth Tower.
We'll catch you there in the chat. If not, we'll catch you on Saturday. We'll see where we go from there. Thanks for joining us, mate.
But let's just have a little look here, and here we go. So, Conservative Labour. Crucial thing about the swingometer is that if nobody changes sides between one side and the other, the swing is at 0% and no seats change hands. This is all about people moving between the parties. So we now ask the swingometer what the swing is and in which direction. Here we go. Let's see. And it's fairly modest, isn't it? It's a swing against the Conservatives to Labour of what looks like just under 1%. Now, all of these dots here are constituencies up both sides, and the closer you are to the zero, the more marginal your seat is. As the axle moves here, it moves across the dots, and the seats change colour. And you can see that the effect of this swing, if this were to be applied across all the seats in the UK, not just the ones we've had so far, would be 9 seats going red from the Conservatives. 9 seats to Labour from the Conservatives. So it's
well, guys, that's a wrap from me tonight. We'll also find out.
The Conservatives are going to do some kind of stupendous advance. Actually, Labour are more than holding them off. What's happened here?
We'll all find out tomorrow how the general election vote goes. But till then, guys, thanks a lot for joining us. And if you're around on RichieDOfficial.com tomorrow night from 8 PM GMT, hopefully we can catch you then for the Friday Night Mix. It's your connection to the weekend. I'm going to hand you over to Mr. Virus City now. You have a good evening. Good night, guys.